like actually on
See?
the show.
So, I'm the first of many. You know,
That's
that's
awesome.
what I'm going. I'm a trendsetter.
We appreciate that.
Okay, looks like we're good to go from my point of view.
All right, Tim, whenever you're ready.
One more thing.
Ah, I didn't change the titles. Let me.
Oh, we're gonna take.
that.
Do you want to take a second? Okay. You know, this is what happens when you give him a compliment. Do you know what I mean? We're like, oh, we couldn't do it without Jesse. He's like, well, hold on a second now. Oops.
You know, it's a good thing you said something because it still said 3/18 on March 18, and I would have read that without even thinking.
Man, you guys just falling apart. Just falling apart.
It happens.
Let me make sure. There's one more thing I wanted to add.
I was going to say more Justin impressions because that was hot off the press, Marty.
Listen, I was rolling into a very intense 12 to 15 hour stomach virus that snatched my soul for like my Friday was gone. And I'm telling you that I don't remember last week's podcast. I really don't. I know for a fact that I said somewhere that I know I did a Justin impression. I also know that people say that I was extra spicy. And so
yes, you were.
Yeah, it was pretty funny because I was just like doing the Friday on Discord, and then all of a sudden I see everything pop off of like, oh, that Justin impression by Marty is real good, and I was like, oh well, now I'm gonna have to go listen to this.
Yeah, I had to hit you at the very end there with the sure look it, you know.
Yeah, I did hear that. I was like, well played, sir.
You're from Canada, correct?
Yes, I am from Canada. Yeah, I'm from Canada. Spent 2.5 years living in Ireland.
And are you back in Canada?
Back in Canada, yes.
What province?
Alberta, Western Canada.
Alberta, okay.
Yeah.
I live in the Pacific Northwest, so.
Oh, okay.
And Whistler have some very special moments in my. Because when you're 18 or something, you go up there and drink.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah, you're really not actually that too far from me then, really, in relation to everything.
No, all my friends in California call me the Wall Watcher and Game of Thrones. He basically lives in Canada. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I actually want to do a trip down to the Pacific Northwest when eventually we'll be able to travel again, which would be brilliant. But
you guys should try to go to PAX Prime or now PAX West now.
That was so actually true honesty. We were going to be going last year. We had everything in the plan. I think Tim and you and I were kind of on the docket for that one, right?
Yeah, we were planning for all that.
We were planning for all that, and then obviously COVID hit. So
yeah, I got some good stories about PAX. It's very important to me.
Nice. So, all right, we'll excited to hear that later.
Yeah.
Jesse, how are we? We're good, sir.
We're good. We've been streaming.
Okay.
Of course we have. Why not?
We've just been chit chatting. All right. Is everybody ready?
Guys, man, let me just put away my the Switch Pro edition that Nintendo sent me a couple moments ago. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, the NDAs, we can't be showing them.
Oh my gosh.
It has the Joy-Con with the D-pad and the two buttons, right?
The Joy-Con just drifts itself. It just goes around in a circle.
Make sure you tell your uncle thank you for that.
Exactly. Well, that's a good segue to Casey. Tim, why don't you kick us off here?
All right. 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 319, recorded on March 25th, 2021. On tonight's episode, with special guest Casey Kuehl from the Underpowered Podcast, we discuss more news, but very interesting news around the Switch Pro. Niantic and Nintendo team up for a Pikmin GO game, and what's happening to GameStop. What the heck is going on? Jesse, you know what to do.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Marty here. You're listening to episode 319 of Nintendo Dads. It's March 25th, 2021, and reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Although I did leave the show last week and go straight into what I just described a few minutes ago to these guys as a soul-snatching stomach virus. Oh my gosh.
Yes, my voodoo doll worked. Excellent. Excellent.
After I apparently did an impression of you on the show last week, and I say apparently because in the process of getting sick, I don't really remember episode 318. So if you listened and you thought, hey, Marty sounds a little bit different, I must have. It may not have even been me. But joining me on the show this week are 4 people, definitely not me, but I'm glad they're not because, hey, it takes all kinds in this world. Straight from Kansas City, Mr. Jesse Waldeck. How are you, buddy?
Pretty good. Yeah, you were a little extra spicy last week.
It wasn't just the Chick-fil-A sandwich I had for supper.
No, that's not spicy at all. That's weak.
The spicy is.
No,
I had the spicy.
It's weak. It tries to be.
Well,
it pretends.
I just like it's better than the regular now. I can't go back. And
I agree with you. It's the best sandwich I have, but it's not spicy.
Yeah. Speaking of better than regular, Justin Masson, all the way from Canada. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, man? Yeah, I'm going to tell you. I'm excited to be here because it has been a week for me, almost 2 weeks. It has been quick fun fact. Interestingly enough, I was on Canadian jury duty for the last 7 days of my life.
Hold up. What is the difference between American jury duty and Canadian jury duty?
Well, we really
still wear the wigs, right?
Yeah,
you guys still wear the wigs.
We do not. We do not wear the wigs though. But we determine everything not by guilt or innocence, but by weight of maple syrup and mousses. That's how we determine things. But I'm excited to be here. I'm really am. So, but we can get jumped into that later. Marty, you still there? I think he lost his internet. Speaking of a guy who also is caught sometimes riding a moose, Mr. Timothy Alf. Timothy, how are you, sir?
It only happens whenever I go to the Toys R Us on the other side of the border there. I get to, once I go over the bridge, the Ambassador Bridge here in Detroit, they make us get out of our cars and we pick the moose of our choice. And we go to Toys R Us licking a maple syrup lollipop.
That's
I
exactly
thought
how
they changed the giraffe to the moose on the other side of the border, but that makes more sense.
Nice.
Yeah. Justin, just a minute ago, I don't know what's going on. Something just blinked and I lost my mic, I lost my camera, I lost all of that. So that's already happened once. So hopefully, it'll happen about 15 more times on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I tell you what is awesome about the show is we're joined by special guest Casey Kuehl from the Underpowered Podcast. Casey, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I'm really excited to be here.
We are excited to have you here with us. And, it's a first for Nintendo Dads here. Casey informed us right before the show that he just became a patron of the show, which we're going to tell you how you can be a patron in a minute. And so we've never gotten to call out a brand new patron on the show that's on the show before. So that, hey, making Nintendo Dads first, that's how we do it.
I'm going in the record book. That was my goal.
Yes. Could we have it noted in the podcast record, please, Mr. Timothy Alf?
Of course. I'll get
He is our record keeper.
He's a Nintendo Dad's historian. And speaking of history, couple of this is not going to be a week that goes down in history because we're really thin. I called this week on our show poll the Slim Pickens edition of Nintendo news. But let's dive into what we have, shall we?
Sure.
I love that. Justin normally goes, do it, but you just had to, sure.
Yeah, which is good because I was totally not paying attention.
That is fantastic. Of course, our news is brought to us each and every week by people like Casey and you over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where you can join in for as little as $1 a month and be part of one of the greatest communities on the internet. I say one of the greatest. I always say the greatest, but we do acknowledge that there may be other great communities.
No, this is the best. I mean, mine's pretty good, but yours is pretty good.
I was just trying to be nice. That's all.
It's okay. I appreciate
it. Trying to be fair and nice and tolerant and all those good things. But
that Southern hospitality is real.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
So anyway, $1 a month gets you in, or you can go all the way up to $30 a month to be a Patreon producer. You get all kinds of benefits through that. And one of the benefits we do want to mention to that is if you're in the Discord, about our monthly Mayhem challenge where you can win actual eShop money from the dads. just by playing video games. Tim,
we open up my wallet and I send you 1 or 2 loonies. That's exactly how that works.
Here's your $1 of Eshop.
Yeah, here is your 1 Canadian dollar. Come back again, you suckers. You want some more dollars? Come on back.
The joke really is that for everyone else, it's like 50 cents.
That's exactly
it.
Because Canadian currency sucks.
Yeah. So, Tim, tell us what is the monthly Mayhem challenge this month?
So this month we have basically we're playing Nintendo Online, Nintendo games using the Nintendo Switch Online access because it's a lot of versus and even co-op type games to play to try to gain points. And it's up to our fearless leaders in the monthly Mayhem, Drew and John, who do our sister show, the Dads After Dark show, but they also handle the monthly Mayhem for us, for the Nintendo dads and the community, which they've been doing for a very long time and doing an awesome job at it. Mm-hmm. And they've outdone themselves this time around because they're putting in a lot of work for this. Because basically, they set up a list of who's versus who. There's other people who are doing single player games by themselves, or it could be a cooperative game, but you have to work together to get points as well. But basically, you have to reach out to them once you've arranged the time. Like I had to arrange time with one of our community members, Shannon, to play soccer, NES soccer. So it's the first time for me to play that. So that was interesting. But we got together. We got together, played that game.
Not sorry that you played with Shannon. Sorry that you had to play soccer.
Wow. Hey, you're a Mega Man guy, right?
I am.
Mega Man Soccer, dude. One of the best sport games ever.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't have
one of the only sports games I've ever cared about because it had Mega Man in it.
Right. Gemini Man, you get him, you do his special shot, and you score every time.
There you go.
It'd be awesome if that was on there because that would sound like fun.
That would be such a good one.
We played. Shannon beat me, but I still got some points, and we get to move on to the next round. And we are playing this through April. And then the winner who has the most points gets first place, and they get a $15 eShop card. And then everybody else's points gets put into a pool and gets drawn and from a hat and basically lottery. And whoever wins that gets a $10 eShop card.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
It's a lot of fun. The whole community is involved.
Tim, that's a great segue into the first bit of news that we have here. Speaking of points, the final Super Mario 35 World Count Challenge has begun. It began yesterday at 3 a.m. Eastern, and it runs through next Tuesday, March 30th at 3 a.m. And this is all celebrating the culmination of the month of March, where Nintendo is going to hold a public execution of Mario and all his friends.
Mario's going to die. It was trending on Twitter. Yeah.
I saw that on Twitter this week. Yeah. Basically, if you play this game and you go and you do the World Count Challenge, if 350 million coins are collected in that time, every participant will get 350 platinum points on my Nintendo. Now, that sounds great, except then you figure in the fact that last time we didn't do it. It did not happen.
They had to defeat 350 million Goomba, and I think the total was like 317 million.
Right.
So it was not acquired. So I played my game, collected my 200 coins or so, and I'm done with it. So
here's the thing. Keep in mind, this game is going to be shut down on March 31st, and we got a really interesting email that kind of dovetails with this. And this is from over on email from Vaskin Kasakian. And I really hope I said that right. If I didn't, we actually, Casey, here's a fun fact. We actually had somebody that unsubscribed as a patron before because I mispronounced their name.
Wow.
True story. Yeah.
Salty.
Yeah.
So
that Jason Mason guy, what a jerk. What a jerk.
Justin's twin brother.
Yes,
Vaskin, I hope I pronounced your name right. If I didn't, I'm from the South and me no school good. Here's his question. He says, thanks for making these tough times bearable with weekly podcasts, like hanging out with my friends, talking games in normal times. Dude, awesome. I'm glad we can make anything more bearable. Right. So here is his question. what is Nintendo's thinking in pulling Mario 35 at the end of the month? Do you really think they'll go through with it? Is there a gimmick here in the works, like pulling Mario 35, but launching Mario 100 with other worlds like Super Mario World, etc.? He said, I've loved the game, would totally pay for a complete version, and feel incredibly disappointed to watch it go. Here's my theory. And y'all can stomp all over this. I'm sure Justin has a business perspective where he'll tell me I'm completely wrong. But here's my theory. We didn't get all the Goombas stomped because there's not enough people playing this. And I think Nintendo knew that. And I think they knew it would be a gimmick that would be cool for a little bit, and then it would level out and nobody would want to really play it anymore. And that's why it's going away. Those are my thoughts. Casey, what do you kind of looked up like, here we go. What do you think?
I think it's the Shamrock Shake. It's like a monthly flair to be on. I think it was a good idea. Like, it sounded fun, and then it's just the execution wasn't all the way there. And Nintendo will do things like scarcity model has always been a part of their plan. You think of the NES Classic, the SNES Classic. They have no issue saying, yeah, it's done. And then we were talking about this on the podcast. With everything going to subscription models and Disney Plus, Nintendo might move to a vault, like the Disney Vault. Remember the Disney Vault back in the day? Like, hey, back in release. So maybe games will reappear on the NES Online app or the SNES Online app. Or this game might, hey, we're bringing it out of the vault for this edition. Like, they might do it every 5 years. Could be something like that, like 35, 40, 45. And they could fine tune it. I think, with the Mario dying and the moving to it, I think this is also a move because it's Zelda's 35th anniversary and that's gotten no attention. So they're giving Mario, because March 10th is Mario Day. I think this is Mario's month, and then they're going to shift their marketing towards Zelda for a while and celebrate Zelda's 35th because that's their other flagship. And everyone's clamoring for Breath of the Wild 2. The game I'm dreaming of is Dungeon Maker, Zelda Maker. Like we talked about that, a Mario Maker with Zelda, that you could do that and make worlds. So, but I think they'll cut it out. If they're going to do it with Mario All-Stars might be a little different in that they'll sell each property separately. But Nintendo doesn't care. Like, yeah, whatever, cool. You want us to do this thing? We're not going to do it because they're just going to do their own thing. They march to their own beat of their own drum. They always have.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. In case your commentary around like the Disney Vault, I think is really kind of spot on. I do believe this is going in the Disney Vault, and by the way, in 6 months from now, they're going to sell it to us individually on the eShop. I very much believe because here's the deal. Very simply, it will make money, and people will pay for it, right? I think with Mario 35, and also just as a fair commentary, I want to say this. I have already deleted Mario 35 off of my Nintendo Switch.
Same.
Why? Nintendo doesn't take it from me. I take it. You know what I mean? Like, I was the one that killed Mario. They didn't kill Mario. I killed him.
I made the decision. I
made that decision myself. I'm a grown adult. You don't tell me what to do, Nintendo, other than always paying for stuff, right? Don't tell me what to do. I believe that this is, and I believe you're very right there. This is part and parcel of their event. They wanted to make this a celebration event. March 31st will be the wrap up. This is the final kind of like, this will be the party's over. We're flicking the lights. Someone's playing closing time. The bar lights have gone on. We're going home. Get out of here. Right.
Great.
Thank you. Right. And if we were really good, Jess would have that like just queued up right now.
Nope.
Right. Okay.
I was gonna throw it out there for you. Right.
Perfect. Right. Oh my gosh. We've already been like, got a strike from YouTube for that one.
Oh, no.
So I believe they're going to close it off nicely. They're going to have some space, and then they're going to begin the Zelda celebration. I don't know. I think why do you guys
remember that? And maybe I know that it took me a while to remember this, but when they released Super Mario All-Stars for the Wii, they did it on disc. They did a special box for it that came with a commemorative booklet and a CD. And it was limited time only. Do you guys remember that? It wasn't offered for download. It wasn't, of course, games weren't being offered for download then except for Virtual Console.
Yeah, Virtual Console was, and that game still should have been a Virtual Console.
Yeah, it should have been on Virtual Console. You're exactly right, but it wasn't offered through there.
Yeah.
And I remember,
I think that disc is the smallest ROM image or ISO image out of the entire library. It's like 35 megs.
I remember it being limited because I wanted that for Christmas, and my wife was like, "I'm going to get this for Christmas for you. Don't buy that. Don't buy it." And then she missed it, and we ended up not getting it, and we ended up having to go like find it. And I think they did like one reprint of it at one. Like they were like, "Don't worry, it's going to come back," and she managed to pre-order it then or something. But this is not unheard of. I think though. I think where the concern is, or where the question is, I guess, is why are so many Mario things ending on one day, right? Like, and you answered the question, right? Like, it's time to move on.
Yeah,
it's time to let Zelda have the stage. But we've never seen Nintendo do this to this scale before.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a couple things about it. And also I do want to FYI here, Abyssal in the chat. Thank you, Abyssal, for reminding us. Fire Emblem is also going away. Right? There's that digital Fire Emblem. So that one
original Fire Emblem.
Yeah, the Western conversion, right? So that's only been out there for about 4 months because it came out beginning of December, if memory serves me correctly, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that one's that one plays against my theory of, well, it's all Mario stuff. I mean, the reality is, and I think, Casey, again, you struck this very well, which is they know how to create scarcity, but this is the first time what we're seeing is digital scarcity, which is ridiculous, right? Because it's like it's not like you have limited space, but again, what you do by creating scarcity and limited runs is you create exponential excitement, sales, and hype, right? If something is going to be there, and exactly, and for something like Fire Emblem, they could say, listen, it costs us a fair chunk of money to move this. How do we recoup our costs as quickly as possible? What you do is you shorten that sale window as quickly as possible, right? So what you do is opposed to having potentially happen over years, or maybe people just, move away from the hype cycle of it. It's occurring now. It's only 3 months. Buy it now. And we saw this with the 35th collection that came out in September, right? The sales numbers on that game for 3 months was astronomical. Like it came in and like, I think it jumped to, Jesse, maybe you can remember, jumped to like 8 or 9 in the sales real fast. But again, that's because
I was still expecting it to be higher. I thought it was going to be, I was saying it was going to get 15 million. I think it crossed 10, but it didn't get to 15.
And go ahead.
They didn't. Sorry, it's because they didn't put in Mario Galaxy 2. That's why. Yeah. If that was in there, it would have sold a lot more. I think people felt a little shortchanged with the 3 All-Stars a little bit.
It'll be interesting to see if they use this strategy again for Zelda. Like if indeed we do have a Zelda anniversary collection coming in September, if they're going to continue this strategy, or if it was just a one and done and they decided to try something new. But I would argue that the sales show that it worked, right? And if you're making decisions, again, this is a business. If they're making decisions, it's going to be numbers based. It's economics based, right?
So what do you think that Zelda collection would look like if they did that, right? What's going to be the collection?
I think it's probably going to be the remastered they're probably just going to do the 2 remastered games. It's going to be Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and that's it. Because how easy is that? Like we can churn that out this year, and boom, we're going to sell 2 million of those.
Yeah, I mean, we all talked about it a while back. Like those are the Wind Waker is one that everyone should play.
Exactly,
and it's there twice. Yeah.
Well, and they kind of dispelled the fact that Skyward Sword would be a part of that by doing their own thing with that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird move.
The only other thing I think that I could see them do is them do a port of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D versions from the DS.
The 3DS? That'd be interesting.
How, like, again, would that be enough, quote unquote?
I mean,
it would require more effort than the Wii U updates.
Yeah. Well, I wonder how hard it would be for them to skin Link Between Worlds with the Link's Awakening remake models, right? Yep. You do that, and dude, here's my money.
There's a lot more. There'd be a lot more enemies that they have to like do
Model
art for
out.
and
Yeah.
things like that. And well, I'm not as far as items or anything, but the logistics of it is we know that they can't. Well, they could, but they probably won't. Like throw everything Zelda on the Switch, but why not? Right?
I mean, that's the
I think
model
if they
these
put
days.
I think if they put another game using like the Link's Awakening models art style, people are going to get upset because we already have the Gen 4 remakes of Pokemon doing that.
That's true. The Diamond and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Yeah.
But you know,
But I would
go ahead, Tim. You have not spoken, and I have spoken too much.
So I was going to say, what I would like to see though is that Zelda never got the original All-Stars treatment. So why not do an original All-Stars treatment like they did with the 3D games with the original game Zelda 2 and Zelda 1, Zelda 2 and some other
in a way
games.
they did. They just didn't call it Zelda All-Stars. They called it the Zelda promotional disc that was available for people who pre-ordered Wind Waker.
But did they do the updates to it like they did with the All-Stars game? Because the All-Stars game up-res the graphics from 8-bit to 16-bit on Mario.
Just the NES and SNES games emulated.
Right.
But still,
that's what I'm talking about is the All-Stars treatment where they upgrade the graphics to bring the NES to even the SNES. I'll take that.
I like Casey's idea of taking the sprites or the artwork from assets they already have for Link's Awakening and apply it to Zelda 1.
Yeah. What about the assets to you said from Link's Awakening?
The new Link's Awakening. The one
right. What about using Link Between Worlds assets?
That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said. You use that. Okay. That would be my move because that's the one that like everyone should play. I know we're shifting from Mario here because it was just natural in the conversation.
That's good.
But I think and I had a conversation with a close friend today, and he sent me this. He said Mario's overrated, and I looked at him and I was like, "Okay, Colin Cowherd, this is a bad take, I think." And I go, "What do you mean?" And so he goes, "It's all about nostalgia. It's nostalgia." And I go, none of this would exist without Mario. Like, let's be honest with that. He kept kind of moving the flagpole on me in the debate. And so I kept going back. I'm like, if you're making the argument that he's not a compelling character, I could see that. Like, he's a dude who fell in a pipe. It's kind of allegory for he's on a weird drug-induced mushroom trip, maybe. I don't know. Right? His lore is not as grand.
He was the mid-30s man.
Right. And I get that. But I think when you talk about what makes Mario great and why Mario's in so many, over 100 different titles, it's, when Mario's in a game, there's some type of quality to it, right? Even a bad Mario game is okay. It's like pizza. Like, bad pizza is still pizza.
Oh, that's what we said about the Zelda games, too.
Yes, they're both, it's that Nintendo quality. So, if they want to shine up an old Zelda game and give Zelda time, this is just Nintendo's move. And like Marty, you said earlier, I think it was Marty or Justin said it, where we haven't seen them do something like this. I think it's maybe everyone's watching more too because of COVID still keeping everyone, like, people need to pay attention to things. So this flow of marketing and it's speculation news network, right? Media has changed a lot in the last year, I feel, or 2 years, and people are like thinking. I think what's hurting Nintendo a little bit is the whole when they brought the director, and his name is, I can't think of it right now, for the Breath of the Wild 2, when he came out and said, "We don't have anything yet," everyone was just like, "What are you doing? Like, why did you even bring him out? Like, you didn't have to
later.
Do that. Later
this year we will."
That I didn't need you to just to come in and apologize for it. Don't apologize. Like, I think we need to let developers take their time and simmer a bit, because I don't want Nintendo to pull a Cyberpunk, which they would never do.
Something I wanted to mention too was that because it's Nintendo, I'm not expecting the same thing they did with 3D with Mario.
Yeah,
with Zelda,
different.
They're going to do something else completely different that we won't expect, that we'll probably love, and then we'll still say, "Oh, they did it with Zelda, so the next anniversary are they going to do the same thing?" But they don't seem to always do the same thing. I shouldn't say never, but they don't.
Yeah. My general rule of thumb is you set your expectations really, really, really low. And then you're never disappointed. And it works out pretty great. Like all right, hey.
Yep. We have a famous saying around here that a lot of people either like or don't like, but we say it. And what is that, Justin? What is that saying?
Justin is awesome.
No.
I like that one. I agree with that one.
That's pretty amazing.
That's saying number 99 for you. I'm talking about the number one.
It is high hopes, low expectations.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's a good life motto in general too. Like, I think people, something that really always gets me fired up is when people complain like about the game development process, and it's kind of like people that are armchair quarterbacks, and that, well, I would have done it, then do it. If you think you could do it faster, go do it. You can't though, so just shut up, let them make the game, and let them make it the way they want it, because it's their art. Right? You can't rush the art. I'm getting old. I'm like turning into the old man in the front yard, like tired of everyone complaining. Just give me the game, let me play when it's ready.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting though to see what they do to pivot from the Mario stuff. If they're going to do the Vault thing, or again, they're Nintendo. They may never revisit the same formula again, and we'll come back again in the 40th anniversary edition and have something completely different going on. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because it's hard. It's hard to see a pattern except for the few things that we have seen, So there's not much of one when it comes to Nintendo.
Going back to Justin's question, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, as of December 31st, sold 8.3 million units. Well, that put it at 13th place.
8.3 million units in 3.5 months.
Wow.
Yep.
Almost 3 million a month. That's not bad.
That is on tracking wise. That's approximately what the tracking pace was for Animal Crossing.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
So I'm curious. I really think they're just going to split them up and sell them too.
I thought Animal Crossing had 10 million units in like 3 weeks.
No, sorry. I mean averaged over time, right? Because they're ought to be about a year. They're about 3.6 million.
Yeah.
So Casey, you mentioned about splitting it up and selling them separately. That was a prediction that we made when they announced this game. And we're wondering what was the third. Them taking it away was basically, we were saying, one, they're going to pivot to Zelda most likely, and two, it wouldn't shock us if they sold each one separately afterwards.
Sure.
It will no longer be in a bundle. You have to buy them separately.
I have mystery option C for you guys too.
Okay, let's hear it.
We get Nintendo 64 online store comes out, and then GameCube, like the entertainment libraries, like we have for SNES. They're going to start releasing those games next for you to have and play.
That makes sense.
I just wonder if this is how they introduce Mario Galaxy 2, is they split this bundle up, and it's like, hey, you can buy all three of these, and now available Mario Galaxy 2.
Sure.
And if you previously purchased Super Mario 3D All-Stars, you get a 5%, 10% bonus discount on Galaxy 2.
I mean, I'd buy it. My son is in love with Mario 3D World, and Mario Odyssey. Those are his first entry. And he's played some Super Mario World on the SNES Mini, but Galaxy would blow his little mind. I want to watch that experience for him. I would pay, and I don't. Is it still? Would you? Okay, what's the price point when you separate these titles too in 2021?
So I think it has to. I think they're $20 a piece. And
it's Nintendo. It's going to be $30 a piece.
I'm with Tim. I think it would be $30, $29.99.
We want it to be $20, but Nintendo's going to sell them for $30.
20 is the right number.
Or maybe like 20, 25, 30, depending on as the scales up in generation.
Well, I was going back to look as you were saying that, like, how much did Super Mario 64 cost on the Wii U? Because that's the last time we saw it emulated.
$10, right?
Oh yeah,
or saw it, and it was $10.
Yeah, but
maybe
it wasn't enhanced. All the enhancements are minimal.
I'm just looking at the actual cost. Like if you look at the cost of 3D All Stars, it was $60. That's $20 a game. How are they going to? What are they going to do when they break them apart? $19.99. And then you can get the last one. You can get Mario Galaxy 2 complete set for another $20. And look, if that happens April 1st, I'm forking the money down that day.
Yeah, I'd buy it too. I don't know if I'd play it, but I would buy it just to have it in the collection.
What's the Friday? Is it? It's April 2nd, right?
Yes, April 2nd.
Okay.
Friday.
So
April 2nd.
So just to support that theory, what day does the eShop refresh the most?
Friday.
Thursday.
Oh,
Thursday,
that's right.
Nintendo games release on Friday.
Yep, sure. Nintendo games that have a physical release traditionally release on Friday. But your big eShop date is Thursday.
Thursday, because people want to download it at 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Like Monster Hunter tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That makes sense.
Even just like the smaller indie games, they're available at like 9 or 10 in the morning on Thursdays.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're.
You think we might see a Nintendo? Think we might see a Nintendo Direct on April 1st?
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. Are they gonna get us?
Would you trust anything to be true?
I'm not trusting any tweet on that day.
If Nintendo came out with one and it was the ultimate troll, I'd be sad, but it'd be hilarious. But it also would be Nintendo on brand to do it in
totally.
Ryan Reynolds of Nintendo Directs.
Yes. Just have Detective Pikachu do the whole thing. That would be
as Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, my opinion is that they have been a little bit quiet for a little bit. Monster Hunter is the big flagship game that they've been toting. This is the end of their financial year, coming on March 31st. April 1st is their new year. It starts their new financials. They close the book on everything else, and now they have to lay the path for the next 12 months. And we do have to remember that they are predicting, or their prediction numbers are that they're going to have a better year this year than last year.
So, considering we're not going to have another pandemic, at least we better not.
Knocking on wood.
They know something we don't know, whether it's hardware and or software.
Or
hardware. What a segue.
Well, I was going to say this to wrap up this talk of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Nintendo did confirm this week, and this just blows my mind.
And it's sad that they had to confirm this.
Yeah, they had to confirm this. Digital codes of Super Mario 3D All-Stars will still work after March 31st. So here's the thing. They're not getting rid of it. It's not leaving the eShop. No. They're just erasing the way to get to it unless you have a code. Mm-hmm. What are they doing? Again, I don't.
They're playing 4D chess.
They are. They're 30 moves ahead
with themselves.
Yes, right? Yes.
They're geniuses.
Or Mystic Split.
No, but it kind of does. Like, could a code? I'm just spitballing here. Could a code on a single card give you 3 downloads on Nintendo Switch Online, where they're now separate, but this code triggers all 3 of them to download?
I would say yes, because we've seen cartridges open up multiple game slots on the menu.
So there you go. Now they're separate. They're no longer the 3D All-Stars package. They're just get the one you want, or you bought the code and it downloads all 3. And here's Mario Galaxy 2.
Listen, I can deal with so many conspiracy theories. I can't. This one just breaks my brain.
Yeah. All right. Well,
speaking of conspiracy theories, hardware.
Right?
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this big rumor. This was our most voted on topic of the week, and this would be getting into our rumors category a little bit. But we do have a little more news. But we're already here since Justin segued so nicely. So let's talk about it. Bloomberg reportedly talked about this week that an upgraded Nintendo Switch with the new Nvidia graphics chip will be available this year with a price upwards of $399. They did quote in the article as well a possible price of $349 if Nintendo is really trying to hone in on getting a value to people, but they believe $399 or up is where it will land. This, of course, is one of yet more rumors swirling about a Switch Pro or Super Nintendo Switch, or
I like that name.
Call it.
You said that on our podcast. The Super Switch. I love that.
Yeah, then Super Nintendo Switch will have NVIDIA chip with the DLSS technology to upscale and up-res, do a 4K and all that. Casey, what do you think, man? I feel like, every week is another version of this rumor. I feel like every week we talk about this on the show. And honestly, I feel like at the point everybody's talking about this to the point that we've kind of beat it to death.
Yeah.
But every
I
week
predicted
there's
it first.
just there's a
True.
little.
Tim did.
It's like there's a little more, another little crumb, right? Like here's another little morsel.
I mean, it's obviously going to happen. They've been talking about it for a long time. Like, let's, and if you want to give me more news about it, cool. I'm, again, like you said, high hopes, low expectations. And we talked about it too. If it's going to be 720, people were mad that it's 720p on a 7-inch screen. And, people are not going to be happy with it no matter what. At least, okay, the internet will not be happy with it no matter what. Sane people that, enjoy video games and Nintendo products will be happy because it's time for an update.
Again, as a developer, I think if they did go with 1080p in the handheld mode, would upset developers now having to code for 4 possible modes instead of just 2 or 3.
So I didn't know that would be an issue too. And then, and also you would know, it's like, and you
like
said it to me too.
The iPhone iPad problem, and then they started changing the aspect ratios of iPhones.
Got it.
And iPhone developers have.
Well, and you and I can't really tell the difference, right? Like, to be honest, at that size of a screen,
720p on a handheld screen is absolutely fine.
Yeah, I love like a pixel game, so it doesn't really matter to me. Like, I don't need my system to chug. I want art. I like the art of games, so I want
my Picross games in 8K.
Yeah, I need them in 8K. I need them in VR 8K. I need the HoloLens on the Switch.
Holodeck.
Now the holodeck, yes. Beam me up, Scotty. Cool. I think Bloomberg's putting it out, but I also think it's like the NFL when things are slow, they make hype and they create drama. So I'm a huge Seahawks fan, Pacific Northwest, and everyone. I don't know if you guys follow sports balls at all. Everyone's like, Russell Wilson's going to get traded. Russell Wilson's going to get traded. And if anybody that paid attention to any, the first thing I said, I want to stay in Seattle. No one, everyone misses that point, right? Like, Nintendo said they're going to be, this is kind of common knowledge. We're going to make a new system. If there's an agreement with Nvidia, you can see the trail. When Nintendo is ready to announce it, they'll announce it. I think with the Pokemon Legends Arceus and the Zelda 2, they'll announce it near the holiday season because that Pokemon Legends looks like it's going to push the system. Mm-hmm. And it's time. Like, just a survey, how many of you do you play your system more handheld or docked?
I am a docked person.
Same.
Yeah, I used to be mostly handheld, but for the last year and a half, I've been almost exclusively docked.
Handheld.
So
see, I want to get those controllers. I can't remember the brand that you told me about for the Joy-Con. The
Binbach?
The Binbach. Yeah, I need to get those. That's on my to-do list. Thank you. Gesundheit.
They're so good.
They are so good. I have buddies, though, that have now they were like, I bought another dock, right? So they have it in multiple spots in their house, which I think is the great move. I'm hoping...
I have 3 docks, 2 in this room.
Right. There you go. Do you think they make a new dock, too? Or is it going to be, you already have a dock, now you just need a new...
I think the smart move
system.
that Nintendo goes with is they sell 2 SKUs. You get a beginner's model, comes with everything, $399. Because obviously it all has to be in if they go with the same model that they've been going and they're not just giving us a home console only Switch Pro, right. Then it obviously has to be contained in the handheld device itself.
Right.
So what they do is they give you the dock, Joy-Cons, all that for $399, or they sell you a 250 version, $249.99. That's just the tablet.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that at all. I think Nintendo, in my opinion, right now is basically creating the iPhone model. Right? You have the iPhone, you have the regular iPhone, right? The mom and pa go in for. You have the iPhone Mini, and you have the iPhone Max. But your majority of your marketplace is the core iPhone, right? That middle of the road one, the one that we all have. There's a specialty market for light, and there's a specialty market for Pro or Max, right? And your sales are going to be there. the Max is not going to replace, or the Switch Pro, Switch Super Switch is not going to replace the Switch, right? It's going to be
upgrade.
It's going to be your upgrade. You're like, hey, I want the better graphics. I want the better system. Cool. So when mom and pa go in to the shop, they have 3 SKUs to choose from. That's it. You're either light, right, where you're only docked, where you're only handheld. You have the core model like we have, or we have this one, which is what, I don't know if you want to call it like the pro gamer one, right, where it's higher graphics, and the same cartridge works for all of them. And I do think you're right. Like Pokemon Arceus, that is going to chug on the other ones. You're going to see these games that are being stretched. Whereas when we put that on the Super Pro Switch or whatever, boom, there you go, easy peasy.
The same thing with the new 3DS. We worked on the old one, sometimes not well.
Yeah, but they worked.
Or the PlayStation 4, or the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Right, like I was watching someone that was playing a PS4. They put in it was like a launch year, and they put in GTA 5, and it sounded like a leaf blower in the room. The motor was going. I agree. I think Nintendo and Apple are very similar in how they kind of operate. And like, we're gonna do our thing, right? Like, and this is just how we do things.
Yeah, Nintendo's not going to put earbuds in their box either.
Not yet. I hope. I would love to get some wireless headphones. That's been the AirPods, because I use Apple TV, have been a life changer when I want to watch like my shows and everyone's asleep on my big TV. I would love for Nintendo to do something with Bluetooth speakers on this Pro as well. But yeah, I could see it being an S, right? And then I think we're moving away, and Microsoft's kind of showing this with the Series X, right? I think we're going to move away from big new system launches, and it's just going to be gradual upgrades every year.
Yeah.
Right. It's part of our new dystopian future. There's going to be no more physical discs. Boxes they're basically PCs with your company's flair and style, and this is this is the tail end of everybody talking about specs. And I mean, like, if I'm a developer, I care about the specs, but I just want to know the games. Like, I'm here for the games, and I'll enjoy the hardware when I get to the hardware. I don't know how you guys feel. Obviously, Jesse's very different for you because you want to know how the inner workings are. I just want to experience the game. Like, I want the thing, right? Yeah. I don't care. Give me the game.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead, Marty.
Moving forward, I want good games, but I also want the capability for all games to be played on whatever platform I want them on. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Cross-console play for everything?
Well, no.
I want that too.
Like, if Bethesda wants to bring out Doom, whatever comes after Doom Eternal, I don't want to wait a year after it comes out
Doom
to play it on Nintendo, right? Like, I would like it to be able to keep up, but I also think that one area that companies are going to have to address moving forward, and this was seen this week as the PlayStation 3 and the Vita shops were talked about being shut down, or the PSP shop was talked about being shut down, is that there is a large and growing larger subsection of people who are saying we have got to address archiving of games.
Sure.
Like, how are we going to continue to play the games that I love? Like, when I'm 60 years old, I'm probably still going to be playing video games. That's 20 years from now. I hope I'm still here. I hope that I'm still playing video games. I want to be able to play Mega Man. I want to be able to play Mega Man 2. But I don't want to have to do that via emulation.
And I don't want to have to keep rebuying it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think, but so I have a love-hate relationship with emulation, because emulation is really important to game preservation. And I think it should be, to emulate your own game will become easier. And if you keep owning digital, like, I want the actual hard file when I buy a digital game. Like, give me a place where I can put the file on a hard drive. Like, I'm downloading Monster Hunter Rise tonight, right? And I might love that. There's going to be iterations, but if I'm done with it, I want to be able to click and drag, and this is in my hard drive. Like, I have this forever, and if I want to upload it back onto a new system of some sort in the future, I can.
It's tied to your eShop for that system, and if that system ever dies, you can't play Monster Hunter Rise 15 years from now.
Unless the eShop stays alive forever and I'm in that ecosystem, right? But I don't want to depend on that either, because you never know what's going to happen.
That didn't happen I mean, we sunsetted the Wii eShop.
Yeah. Right. That's my big fear. I've been burnt, right? I don't want to have to do this again. Like, look at all the other companies, right? They're respecting that the gamers want to keep their games. Microsoft or PC game. Look at Steam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Steam's doing some really cool stuff. I don't know if you guys saw like the gaming with friends thing they just did.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
So certain game titles, if they're co-op games, if your friend doesn't even have a Steam account, you can play with them co-op. No, they don't even have to have Steam. You just have to have a computer. So if like I wanted to play, I think it was like what's the Death to Canada game? There's a game like
Death Road to Canada.
Death Road to Canada.
So yeah, if you want to play that 2-player with a buddy and you don't have a Steam account, you can though if your buddy has it. That was just like one of them. I think Cuphead was on there too. They were the cover arts for that. So, which is a phenomenal game that everybody should play. I want more, like you were saying, with titles like I would like to be able to play the new Doom game, but I understand exclusivity. Thank you, hard word, did it, nailed it. That like with Octopath, which I love, and I know. Jesse, you're an Octopath believer as well, correct?
Oh, I bought it but never played it.
What are you doing? We have to talk. Octopath, I love Octopath.
I think,
but now it's getting
said he played it and liked it.
Yeah, I'm replaying it right now. I 100%ed it, and I'm very tempted to do it again because I want to write a review. Anyway, I just downloaded it on Xbox. It's on Game Pass. Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. It's on Game Pass, right? So now, like, that was the Switch. It was an exclusive for a year, and I think you're gonna see more of that. Like, this console has it for the first year, and then it's gonna come to these other things. Like, Monster Hunter Rise is supposed to come to PC next year.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
Well, sorry. Yeah, and we're seeing that as well, right? I think of Fall Guys is a great example, right? Basically, a 1-year exclusivity with PlayStation, right? I think we're going to see Bug Snacks come over, so like, these exclusivity agreements are not shocking, right? We've seen some actually just that rolled out from Stadia recently, right? So Bomberman Online 64, El Hijo, right? Like these things that have come up and the exclusivity deal's done, right? They're going to start rolling. So,
right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it'll be interesting to see. I think that if you're sitting here on the show in 2022, and it's this week, we're holding a brand new Switch model in our hands.
If we're lucky, yeah.
I'm pretty convinced that we are at this point. Other big news that this week I want to throw out here, and let's have a discussion about this. Niantic and Nintendo are teaming up again to create another mobile application game, if you want to call it that. The first in a series of apps. It was announced that the two companies are going to develop together. And this app that is coming out globally later in 2021 has been revealed to be a brand new Pikmin app that has something to do with going out and taking walks and meeting Pikmin.
Don't know.
Just what I wanted.
Yeah.
They read my mind.
Hey, guys, I just want you to know, welcome to Pikmin 4. Yeah. You're welcome.
Game of the year.
Now,
it's been in development all this time.
Will my Pokemon Go kilometers work simultaneously with my Pikmin kilometers?
Can I still get my egg hatches? That's important to me.
I'm going to bet that you're going to have to pick or choose, Jesse.
Oh, no.
I doubt it. We'll find out.
Pokemon only. That's like if they split their base like that, yeah.
So here's a really interesting thing that I do think we're all having a laugh about it. But what will happen is that this has just moved Pikmin from like a C tier Nintendo IP to like a B to A tier Nintendo IP because of the association with Niantic. Everyone is going to want to poke in and be like, oh, that Pokemon Go thing? Oh, remember, like, think about how big that took the world by storm. Now, yes, I know it's an IP, but I think it's going to draw more interest to the IP for Pikmin. And I think it's a very interesting move. I see you're all like thinking I'm crazy pants right here.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you're crazy pants. I think it's going to, I think it's going to do good. I think people are going to be into it. But I don't think that this elevates Pikmin as a to another tier for Nintendo, because at least in most of the other games that Nintendo has published so far, it's had something to do with the type of game that it already is.
Yeah.
Like Mario Run had something to do with the type of game Mario is. Mario Kart, of course. Animal Crossing was about camping in RVs and collecting things and building things. This is about walking around and finding Pikmin
in the grass, right? Yeah, little things moving around, just like.
Yeah.
Do we know that, or are we assuming that?
I'm making assumptions there, Tim, but I'm willing to bet you, Mr. Archives, that I'm right. It's going to be a little find the Pikmin running around in the grass. Find them on these things.
There's only how many Pikmin though? Like 6?
There's
right?
that's what I was going to say. There's like 6 type of Pikmin. So it's like, well, all right. It's the end of the day 2. You found all the Pikmin. Good job. You beat the game.
Sorry. You guys can't imagine, like, it's a situation where you collect Pikmin. You play as Olimar. You run around. You open up your AR and you see one of those like creatures. Those things that kind of look like weird shaped mangoes with legs and eyes, right? And
you fight it.
And you fight it, and you choose which of the Pikmin that you send forward off of your base that you have had to collect around as you're walking around, right? And then they in AR fight this thing. That
would be interesting.
And then it collects, like, it dies, and now all of a sudden you get their carcass or whatever, and you get more. Like you're literally building your little Pikmin army on your phone that you have to deploy to attack a creature running around.
I guess would there be base building too? That's got to be like the other.
Listen, Casey, I just came up with this a minute ago. I don't know if there'll be base building. All right, if you want there to be, why not? Sure. I don't know.
Hey man,
wasn't that the premise of Minecraft Earth? And I thought that's already dead.
Right. Yeah, but it doesn't. That was where I said, like, it's got to have these layers because everyone's already Pokemon Go's kind of been. This is the standard now. Like my wife's really into Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And she got the Harry Potter Niantic game, and she was really into that for a while. And she's like, Pokemon it's a better game, and she loves Harry Potter more. She's a big Harry Potter fan. And I was like, yeah, it is a better game because it's cooler because it's Pokemon.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of battling the monster, but I don't think it would take it to an A tier. I think if Nintendo wants to move it to an A tier, they have to make a really good Pikmin new title for the Switch.
Yeah.
Like you gotta make more of the games.
I agree with that too.
I'm wondering if the partnership with DNA is no more, or if they're still doing something else.
Oh,
we
that's
haven't heard from them
point.
in a while.
Yeah, and that Zelda game that they said was coming, like they were like within the next couple years.
Oh yeah,
never showed up.
No, it didn't. I forgot there was supposed to be a Zelda phone game.
The mobile strategy they deployed was a stopgap for their survival between the Wii U and the Switch. And it was to appease investors to basically say, like, because they're like, well, the Wii U is desperately failing and you're losing money. Why do you not start throwing your stuff onto mobile phones? And they're like,
all
okay,
of our kids
sure.
play on phone. Yeah, that makes sense.
I just wonder, it makes me wonder, looking back on that, Justin, as you bring up that's a fantastic point. Was Miitopia originally planned for phones?
That would make sense.
Yeah. Well, that could be. I mean,
that was like the first one, right? That was even before.
No, that was Miitomo.
No, Miitomo.
Miitopia is the role-playing game.
It's
kind of like a takeoff on the Find Me thing from 3DS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great
I don't
question.
know. Like,
the names are too similar.
I don't. I'm not a huge Pikmin fan. I'm not a huge Pokemon Go fan. So this announcement doesn't do a lot for me. But the only risk that I think Nintendo has here is that they risk, if this does come out and it is a big hit among their like OG fan base, like their hardcore fan base, that they risk splitting the Pokemon Go money train.
Yeah.
I'm kind of I'm worried about if the gameplay is going to be, how that's going to work, because like I play Pokemon Go every day, but I very rarely walk distances. I normally drive from location to location to do what I want to do. So I'm not, will I be able to do that with Pikmin or not? And we'll have to find out.
Right.
Tim, I deeply appreciate your work as our individual who does our archives. Literally, I'm seeing it come up in Discord.
Yeah. Well,
Ibicel says Niantic games, Ingress is greater than Pokemon is greater than Harry Potter. I tried Ingress like before Pokemon Go's launch just to see what it was about, and I had no idea what I was doing.
No. Dude, people were going into like getting electrocuted from that game because they were actually putting electric fences up on their territory. Ingress has some interesting, like, people got really into it when it was out. I don't think Nintendo wants competing IPs. I could also see this not working out too, and them being like, yeah, let's just bag the project.
Yeah.
Can't wait to learn what it actually is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Well, since we're orbiting this area, we've got some stuff here in our notes about Pokemon Go, that there's been a change to a quest, and this is the all-in-one number 151. It rewards you with an encounter with a shiny Mew. They've actually taken this and made it simpler. Originally was to spin 151 unique Pokestops, and now it's just been changed to spin 151 Pokestops. So for those of you who are lazy and just walking back and forth between like the same 5, there you go. You're going to get shiny Mew.
Nice.
Or you live in Marty's town.
Right. Because I mean, like, there's like, 5 Pokestops around here. Other requirements for the third page of this quest remain the same. That's including reaching level 40, completing 151 field research tasks, walking 151 kilometers, and also catching 1,510 Pokemon. So
those last 2 will take a while.
Yep.
I'm not even that far yet. I'm still trying to catch 30 of every type.
Also, game release update, Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster, which may now actually have the longest title for any game on Nintendo Switch. I'm sure some people will correct me on that if I'm wrong. Has been given a release date of May 25th here in the States. And that's sure to make some people excited because that just simply means there's life in the series, and Shin Megami Tensei 5 is being worked on and will come at a later date. And just this week, we can just kind of talk about this. I just kind of want to go around and ask if anybody's still playing this. Animal Crossing New Horizons celebrated 1 year of being out by doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you got a cake. You got a cake.
And on the day of your first day on the island, Isabel didn't even bother to say, hey, we've been here a year. Nope. Just more crap about her favorite TV shows and her socks. What are you doing, Nintendo? I felt like this was a huge miss for them not to lean into something that had been, y'all, how hot was Animal Crossing this time last year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, Animal Crossing, when I think of COVID, I'm going to always think of Animal Crossing. That's gonna be my bit. That and Tiger King. Those are my 2, That was the fun part of COVID. And then COVID got really bad and worse and sad, from there on.
But think about this, in a world last year where we were sitting in so much uncertainty and unrest and fear and everything, along comes Animal Crossing and is the balm to our wounds, right? And here we are a year later, and people have built amazing things with it. There's this fantastic community that's come up around it, and there's literally nothing programmed into the game technology here. Nintendo barely tweets about it, and you get a cake. Not even on the day, a few days ahead of time, and there it is. Boom, it's a cake.
And watch in the April 1st Nintendo Direct, coming to Animal Crossing paid DLC. That season pass is coming. They've reached that 1 year limit. They've done a whole circle. You are going to see a season pass for that thing right
Justin,
away.
Yeah.
I know I know you're talking the business side of this. It makes absolute no sense for them not to cause people to pay for things in this game.
Mm-hmm.
It is on its way to becoming the number 1 selling game on Nintendo Switch if it hasn't already.
And remember, they have positioned every single one of their monthly updates on Twitter as this month's free update. You keep saying it that way because eventually it stops becoming free.
Honestly, if they will offer me paid DLC that allows me to bring other notable animal people to my island, like Rossetti, like Brewster, like
The police dog, is that Brewster?
Yeah, the police dogs.
Brewster is the owl with the coffee.
That's right, the coffee shop. Yeah.
Digby and all the people that they've introduced in the last few, the hair salon stuff. If they would do that, I'm buying it day one, and so is everybody else who loves Animal Crossing.
Maybe another DLC, not to give them any ideas, but another DLC would be to basically unlock the events of the first year based on its calendar date, so people can time travel to Turkey Day, whatever they want, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I'm really hoping they're going to put guns in this update.
Yeah, well, that's what Animal Crossing needs.
Yeah, that totally goes along with my whole Musu game idea, Justin.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing: Night of the Living Gyroid.
Yeah, exactly.
In which the gyroids rise up, and you plow through armies of bloodthirsty gyroids with all the Animal Crossing characters with swords and hammers and guns.
Yeah. I
was just hoping, like, what happens, like, my imagination is all of a sudden, like, you're Tom Nook, you've got, like, shotgun, it's just a dark scene at night, and that freaking Hoppy the bunny starts walking around, and your job is to hunt him like a madman, like it is a game of sport, and that he is your prey, right? And he's like, and Tom Nook's like putting on like army makeup and like mud. Yeah, and he's got like a knife that he just licks awkwardly, right? Like, I mean, that's the game I want to see. And then
that's what that dock is for, because the ship comes to pick you up to go to that special island.
There you go.
That's exactly hunting. Yeah.
Nook Island murder package.
So, but this is what I was talking about. We have no idea what Nintendo does. They do what Nintendo does, and that is we have no idea what Nintendo does. We expect a 1-year anniversary for Animal Crossing. Do we get it? We get a cake. So you would think with all the millions of people, the millions and millions of fans that have Animal Crossing, that you think Nintendo would jump on and do something for, especially if they're going to do DLC. You would think they would want to hype it up, Animal Crossing, even more, having a celebration, that kind of stuff, but they didn't.
This reminds me of you think they would release more DLC tracks and characters for Mario Kart 8.
Yep, exactly.
And here we are, how many years
or
past
Mario
the
Party
original release of it? Yeah, I mean, it's
Mario Party was the one that baffled me the most. It was like they had only so much stuff in that game, and they were talking about DLC at that point. They were like, "Oh yeah, we want to look at our games and do more DLC around it and all that kind of stuff." And everybody's like, "Where the heck is the Mario Party DLC?" Nowhere to be found. So Nintendo does baffling things, but yet they still do other things that are like, "Yeah, we cheer for because we're fans of it." So, but other things we're just baffled.
You are exactly right. Well, guys, that is our news for this week. Let's discuss GameStop for just a minute. So 8 members of the GameStop Board of Directors are set to leave in June 2021. This includes Reggie Fis-Aimé, who just joined last March, and also former Activision executives. What's going on?
It's almost like GameStop doesn't want input from people in the games industry anymore.
No, well, we don't. Yeah, well, we don't know that for sure because they are being replaced by 8 new members. We don't know who those new members are, so that's tough to say. The articles I've read don't indicate like they've been fired from the board. They're deciding to retire from the board.
Yeah, so Reggie was retiring. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this may have been a stopgap, right? I think when you think of the time last year, the troubles that GameStop was going through, they needed something to kind of provide stability to their shareholders and their audience, showing that GameStop was still going to survive. And I think signing Reggie, like it's almost like signing a contract with like a player for 1 year, right? To help restabilize it. And I think like Reggie was kind of like let's bring in LeBron James and stabilize the team, sports ball, right? And so I think that's really what the equivalent of that was. And it was kind of like, we have a 1 year contract and time with you. And then he's like, yeah, I'm out. Marty, are you gonna?
Yeah,
I'm
this
wrong?
is kind of like no. This is exactly like every year around January or February, Hulk Hogan or The Rock or Edge or some old WWE superstar from days gone by who are like multi-time champions shows up and they begin the road to WrestleMania, right?
Mhm.
And there's
Right.
going to be this high-profile match at WrestleMania where the new guy that they're trying to get over, that they're trying to christen as the new hotness, is going to go up against the old guard, right?
Right.
It happened years ago when Hulk Hogan and The Rock wrestled each other. It happened when Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair, or Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. And so that's exactly what it is. GameStop thought, let's bring in recognizable faces. We need a shot in the arm. Who can we get? Reggie. Reggie knows business. Reggie knows pizza. Reggie knows Nintendo. Gamers love pizza. Gamers love Nintendo. Gamers love Reggie. But
Yeah.
I think that
They
it
just
kind
forgot
of,
that the part about gamers don't necessarily love GameStop.
right. It's gone over about as well as a wet fart in an elevator. I mean, Reggie has given it his all. He's done everything I feel like he probably knew to do or could do, given, because we don't really know like the extents of his power, right?
Yeah.
And that was my guess to this, was that I think their direction into where they're going is why these people are leaving. They don't agree with it, or it's going in a different direction than they thought it was going to happen as when they originally came on. So they probably had the choice. Do you want to stay on and help with this new direction, whatever that may be, with what sounds like what we've been reading could be the whole
Spearheaded by the Chewy guys.
Chewy.com type thing? Yeah. Do you want to stay on board and help with that, or not? And if they don't agree, and they don't feel like their voice is being heard, then they move on. So that's where I think that's where they go. That's why those people are leaving.
A couple things I want to do here. I'm reading from GameIndustry.biz regarding Reggie Fis-Aimé to leave GameStop board. The retailer notes, turnover among our board may disrupt our operations, our strategic focus, or our ability to drive stockholder value. If we fail to attract and retain new skilled personnel for our board, our business and growth prospects could disrupt our operations and have a material adverse effect on our operations and business. The last year, the company posted a net loss of $215.3 million for
Which is
the
why my
year.
GameStop closed.
Yeah,
And that's still with over $5 billion of revenue.
correct. Right. So yeah, they're we've talked about before the slow death of GameStop, which I do believe is slowly coming, but it is death by 1,000 cuts. Casey, what are you thinking there? Agree, disagree?
I think Reggie's 60 years old and he's tired of working. To be
Yeah,
honest with you.
I think there's that too. Yeah.
And I think that with everything with the stock market, imagine you're in that spot, like sometimes it's the most obvious choice, right? For the obvious reason, in that if I was on a board and my stock was going to 500 one day, to 90, it's creating a lot of stress in a workflow environment. And there's all this talk of what we're going to do, and there's all these people hedging their bets that the company will collapse. I don't really want to go there. So either if I'm 60, am I spinning my wheels because we're going to try to make this company work? Or can I go enjoy my time with my 3 kids as they get older, or as they maybe become a grandfather, right? I don't know what Reggie's got in his personal life. We don't talk that much anymore. So, but I get, like, I worked at GameStop. I have a very checkered video game past. And I have good memories working there while I was getting my master's to become a teacher. And the model has to change too. Like they talk about being they could be a change of guard. The Chewy guy could have a plan, right? I always try to want to think of this as a positive too. Let's say a good thing's going to happen and say we want them to fail. And I get why people want them to fail, because pre-ordering games and there's bad experiences with GameStop. But I also think I've had a lot of good experiences with GameStop, because that was the local place you could go and talk video games, right? It was a place that kids in the community knew you if you were in the GameStop, right? So
real quick on that topic, I want to say I don't want them to close, because I learned my lesson from Toys R Us. I miss Toys R Us. I don't want to miss GameStop. I want them to stay there. Yes, evolve.
Exactly.
I want them to evolve.
So here's the idea. They can take it from me. Okay. And this would be my prediction if you want to put it in your books. There is going to be either a place as a hangout where people could be a land center, right? There's going to be GameStops that shift to that. There has to be less GameStops too.
Some tried to go to that model before the fire.
That was Reggie's idea. Right. Before the before times. And I think that could still be a shift. I also think with retro games and them taking in SNES and other old games as trades, what you do to certain stores, instead of making them a flagship store, they're a retro store, right? So, hey, this GameStop sells retro games and it acts as a warehouse for our old retro stuff. This GameStop is where our new releases are, our new systems, new console. But if you're looking to talk trade-ins and you hear, that's this store, and it's a different business practice model. The stores with the new, as the kids say, that's where you're hanging out. That's where you're playing. It has to evolve, right? So maybe they're doing something like that, and maybe they're trying to be a big online retailer that just focuses on online games and become the Amazon for online games, even though Amazon's jumping in that space, and Amazon's the Amazon of that. But I also think, back to I said, Reggie's old. He's 60. Like, if I'm 60, I'm set. I've been the CEO of Nintendo. I'm good. Like, I can retire peacefully and do whatever I want.
He's going to go back inside and play some more Animal Crossing on his new Nintendo 3DS.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's going to do whatever he wants.
After he fights it away from Bill Trinan.
The other part of it that I want to just kind of make a commentary on is for Casey's perspective, and why we may also be seeing such a high amount of people leave, is that they were most likely paid in stocks and shares, not cash. And they most likely came in when Reggie came in back in March, it was like $3. And how much is it now? Even now, it's can we do a quick check on that?
In the 150s, I can.
So
it is 183 today.
So most likely they are. You get to cash out your stocks when you leave.
Yeah.
So everyone goes, you know what? Now's a great time to leave.
It's 183 now, but it opened at a 120, so it still had a 60-point spike.
Right.
Today.
And they were probably, you were probably, it's kind of like everyone can get off the bus, but only at one time, one specific stop. Right. So they it all was probably like, you were allowed to leave. You're allowed to say you're dismissing from the board effective this date.
What did it open at? I did cut out for me, Jesse. 120. So usually in the morning, because the day traders can't trade during the middle of the night because of the whole Robinhood stuff, it starts off lower. I don't know how much you guys have been following that, but that's been the shift.
Off and
on. Yeah. It's interesting to follow. It's gambling. But but no, you're absolutely right. They're cashing out.
Yeah, I just went to like a 1 month view. They were in the mid 200s 3 weeks ago. March 24th, it bottomed to 120 yesterday, and then it's going up again.
And if they bought in,
and again, March 24th is when they announced that that Reggie was not going to be around anymore.
Yeah. When, like you said, like they can cash out. They're all like selling out is awesome. I don't care if people say oh, he's sold out. No, I will sell out in a heartbeat if it pays me for sure. Like, let me do it. Like, because at the end of the day, I care about providing for my loved ones. What was that?
Notch says hi.
Notch, Notch, good for him. Like, I get it. Like, you made a really awesome thing. You're done with it, and you can enjoy the rest of your days. Like, why wouldn't you? Pay me.
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for our Nintendo Dad stock to rise.
Yeah.
And then you're out, right?
You're finally cash out.
Yeah. Well, here's where I think we kind of wrap this up. Unfortunately, for people like Tim and I and others who don't want to see GameStop crash and burn, that's what's going to happen. And as Justin said, it's not anything that they're doing right now per se. It's really death by 1,000 cuts. It's things that they didn't do or things that they did do in the past that have put them in the position where it's kind of like nosedive, tailspin, whatever you want to call it. And it's really hard to pull the plane out of that at this point.
And COVID did not help them last year with with the major console releases and not being able to or allowed to go into stores to pick it up, and yet rather like, hey, it's being shipped to our door, or Amazon or some of the other, like I think you buy directly from directly from PlayStation. They ship to you, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Microsoft
also sold directly as well.
Yeah, the foot traffic that you would normally have going into a store was not there, right? Because you're going to go in the store and you're going to pick up another controller. You're going to pay the warranty, like all those upsells that help them make their money, and that's not there. So they lost out. They lost out big. The best case scenario for them right now, potentially, to kind of pull this out of the nosedive, is that Nintendo Switch XL Pro does indeed launch this year. We are out of COVID and people can actively go into a game shop. Right. Also, the other part of it is that Sony has enough stock that it actually hits the shelves, and that's where you find the supplies. Those are the best case scenarios, is that those stocks become available, people can get them, and you might be able to see GameStop survive longer. And again, let me be clear. I don't want GameStop to die. I think there's a value. I think there's a market it plays. But if you look at the sheer economics and the business perspective of it, they have to evolve, or else they are going to be sliced and diced.
And they need to evolve how they run their operations as well, because it appears from the outside looking in that they have not. So, and from listening to other people who have worked there in bad stores or badly run stores or badly run regions, that it was not a happy place.
If you listen to any of the stories on Camelot's YouTube channel.
Right. So, yeah. So there's this, it's not overall, like Casey, you had a good experience working there, but
we were number one.
Yeah. I've heard other stores that were not, or other employees who used to work there who just,
I just feel bad for the people who work at ours.
Mm-hmm.
There's no GameStop. It's the GameStop. Like, so there's two in a town about 30 minutes over. They're going to stick around. But, I mean, here's a manager that's losing her position. Yeah. Here's long-term employees. I mean, people who have literally worked there for the last 8 years that I've lived in this town.
Yeah.
Minus a few seasonal employees or come and goes. There's some people who, when I walk through the door, they'd be like, "Hey, Marty, how's it going?"
Yeah.
Same with mine, too.
It's the best feeling. Best feeling when they know your name.
Like, they knew, oh, you're in to pick up the Nintendo Switch, or, oh, you're here to pick up, you're going to pre-order the new Nintendo Switch game. Yes, I am. And they would have the transaction ready by the time I made it from the door to the point of sale. And that's what you're going to miss. And like all the people who are like celebrating, like, oh, GameStop, it's the evil empire. Well, where are you going to go now to buy video games? You're either going to go to the evil empire of Walmart or Target or Amazon or Best Buy, or you're going to go to.
We're all married. We're all married, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're going to Target, and you're going to see your wife 3 hours later with like a cart full of $300 worth of stuff. Like, and then you're going to sneak your video game in there. That's
Therein lies the issue. Okay. So Casey, like, I live in a town of 7,000 people. We have a Walmart and 2 other grocery stores. If Walmart doesn't put games out, then I drive 30 minutes to get to the next town where there's one Walmart, a Target, a Best Buy. And what happens if what happens when Nintendo Switch Pro comes out and I don't make it there in time to stand in line and pre-order? Because now I can't pick it up. I can't do that in my hometown anymore because I'm not trusting Walmart for a pre-order.
Right.
How do you feel about this company,
the internet to get a pre-order?
Called Amazon. They're pretty cool. They do some stuff,
which is great unless you're like me and you're sitting in your office to record this podcast because you don't have internet at your house.
Yeah, this is true. And I also
I guess what I'm saying is that what this ends up doing is it ends up hurting. GameStop really expanded into rural areas where there wasn't an access to stuff like this for the past little bit. Like growing up, we didn't have I knew the game store was an hour away. And so like I could go to the mall that was 30 minutes to an hour away and I could get a game when we went. It wasn't like, hey, let's pop over and get it right now.
It was a special thing.
It was a special thing. So then when GameStop expanded into rural areas, it really opened that world up. And now you've got kids who are sitting on like systems they want to trade in, mounds of games, things like that. And here's the crazy thing is that out of the 2 GameStops that I have available in the next town over 30 minutes away, they're like, we're transferring all the pre-orders at this store to the one that's farthest away from here. Wow. Why would they do that? That's another dumb corporate GameStop decision.
Yeah. So they're not thinking about the people.
I'm surprised, the decisions of which stores to close, because you had 1 in your area. I have 4 within a 10 or 15 minute drive. They can easily close 2 of them, and everyone will still have access to a GameStop because there's still the other 2 stores.
I can beat you. There are 3 in our city. 2 of them are within 1 kilometer of each other.
Yes,
they're literally
Starbucks.
They're literally in the same mall. One is on the inside of the mall. One is on the outside of the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's 2 of my 4. Exactly that exact.
So they pull away from rural areas mainly because I'll tell you why. Because they're not doing the per volume income like your stores are.
Right. They're not putting up the same.
What
numbers.
they could do is they can work less hard in your areas and make as much money as they're making here working harder.
Yes, and for clarity for the Canadians, I apologize. It is not GameStop, it's EB Games. I apologize. Sorry.
At least look, you still have those and you still have Toys R Us. Get out of here. Yeah.
True.
Anyway, guys, that's our discussion topic for the evening. Let's talk about what we've been playing, shall we?
Yes.
Casey, on the Nintendo Dads, guests go first, and you can talk about what we want to know what you've been playing, and you do not have to restrict this just to Nintendo games. We do understand sometimes, though, that people are under playing things that are under embargo or things like that, can't talk about, and that's okay. But all the stuff you have been playing, you can talk about. We want to hear about it. What are you playing right now?
So, should I give you guys a brief rundown of what our podcast is for your listeners? Can I do that?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Yes, absolutely.
So how the podcast started was years ago. When I graduated from college, I worked in broadcasting, right? And then I worked at a country radio station. I produced a morning show. And it was weird because when I did broadcast in college, it was always my thing. I was in charge. And so when I got into corporate, I was like, oh, I do not like this. And I went back to school to become an educator because I wanted to do something where I felt fulfilled. And I do. I love being a teacher. But I've always loved video games. I love talking about video games. And I worked at GameStop. And we talked about it on our show. My dad worked for Nintendo growing up. I was that kid, but it wasn't my uncle. It was my dad. And then he worked for EA Sports for many years too. So I've grown up in the industry. It's in the game. And that's when they owned Square. And I could go on. Anyway, so I have a close friend from college, my co-host Shelby. We lived together in a fraternity at Washington State University, and we both became dads. We were just talking about trying to make time for video games, and then we would have this text chain, and I was like, I've always wanted to beat all the Mega Mans. I've beaten so many, so I got the Mega Man Legacy, and then I ranked them. He was really interested in the conversation, and then one day, I was over at his house for his youngest daughter's first birthday, and he was like, yeah, I got this mic on a whim, and then I was like, really? And because I've been wanting to do a podcast, and my big thing is, especially with COVID, I realized that I don't want to regret not doing something, so we're going to try, right? And I was like, hey, I want to do this thing. Here's my idea. Let's do a podcast about games we want to play. Because Shelby has collected Game of the Year lists for the last 15 years. So he showed me this document that is it's a manifesto. If people saw this thing, they'd be like, oh, this is him. He's nuts, right? You're not going to play all these games. So I said, let's narrow it down to 10. So the original concept of the game is we're dads. We are working professionals, and we have games that we've always wanted to play that we never got enough time to, and we want to see if they still hold up, right? So, for me, that was last year was Zelda Ocarina of Time, something I never beat in 24 years, always haunted me, and so I beat that, right? And it was great. But now we've moved to what we want to do, and we've been trying to find the voice of the show. So we still do the backlog challenge. We both have 10 games. The loser is going to have to go to Nintendo of America in Redmond because we live by it, wearing a costume of some sort with a sign that says, I suck at video games. So whoever finishes their 10 games first this year has to do that, and we have to write 10 reviews, right? We're doing 10 written reviews. And we had some friends from the show come on and pick the games. They're from games we wanted to play forever, games that we missed out on, games that we've always heard were good. And the concept of our show is if you're busy, we get it. Your gaming time is limited. So we want to tell you what's worth your time and your money. right? Your energy and your money. So we base our ratings off price point and if the game still holds up after all these years. So you might hear us talk about a game. Like I have one of the oldest games on the list right now, it's Secret of Mana. And I've been playing that with my son. So that's my segue into what I've been playing. And I have, like my growing up, video games would be brought home to me from my dad all the time, right? Like it was just a thing. I was really lucky. I had a Super Nintendo to a month and a half before everyone else did, and I had like the Japanese style red, yellow, blue controller. I did not like purple and gray, right? That was my like introduction to this. My Super Nintendo Super Mario World was the Japanese box, right? That's awesome. My friends were like, "What is it?" And I was in kindergarten, and everyone came over because it was school just started. It was my birthday's in September. So, like, I have all my whole class coming in. They're like, what is this thing? I'm like, this is called Super Nintendo. And they're like, what is – and I blew everyone's mind, right? So the legend of Casey and video games began there in elementary school.
This kid's breaking embargoes left, right, and center.
I
doesn't even care.
I didn't even know. Well, my dad was a quality control engineer, so he would always do the testing, and he was the head of that for Q&A, quality control. And but Secret of Mana was something he never brought, and that was the first video game I ever bought with my own money. My dad's like, if you want this, you can go buy it at a store, right? So, like, cue to me, because I wanted to play it because I have the fond memories of playing Link to the Past with my dad. We beat that together as a kid. Like, I watched him, I told him to do that. And I always thought, oh, Secret of Mana, it's two-player Zelda, like when you read it in Nintendo Power, right? And it is not that at all. Like, my son really likes Link to the Past. Secret of Mana, it's really beautiful, but it gets more credit than it deserves, if I can say that. Like, I want to know why that's on the Switch Classic or Super Nintendo Classic versus Chrono Trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the embargo?
Come on.
Chrono Trigger is the GOAT of JRPGs, arguably. It's the Tom Brady. If you have a standard for JRPGs, Chrono Trigger. I know, and you guys were talking about it with Roger Bass, and you were trying to look for your. I know the DS version's the best one. And you haven't played it, right, Justin? That's the one.
No, I'm still trying to find out where it's hiding in my house now. I think I have a Nintendo box, and I think it's packed in there.
Honestly,
actually.
Justin, here's the thing.
Gotta do it.
I know that we rag on you for not playing some games like Hyrule Warriors, Age of Calamity, all that stuff.
Well, it's garbage. Why would you? I honestly cannot wait for you to play Chrono Trigger. It is such an amazing experience.
It is timeless.
Maybe that's what we should do. I should do a whole month of that's the game I play.
Yes.
I need to find
Justin, I
it.
could play along with you because I haven't played it in a long time. So
I have a list of things I wanted to campaign on this show. One was Octopath for Jesse. I think you guys double down. You make it you do JRPG June. Okay.
There you go.
I like the alliteration.
I'm awfully busy in June. Can it be JRPG July?
There we go. Sure. Perfect. Whatever month you prefer with the J. January, you could save it for next year if you want to put it off. So you do Octopath, you do Chrono Trigger, and you guys just talk about it for a month. I think they're great.
I'll do Dragon Quest 11.
Oh, that is a masterpiece too on the Switch. So I'm a huge JRPG guy. Like Shelby and I are really balanced on there's certain things that we both like. Because I'm a Mega Man guy too, like you, Marty, and I think you're the same way. I like a game where I can grind, but I'll beat it by attrition in that I'm going to get better over 100 runs and I'm going to finally beat it because I'm not going to mentally break under the game, right? The game's not going to break me. I'm going to figure out how to beat it. And I like JRPGs because I'm an only child. And so learning, reading and playing games.
Hey, me
myself,
too.
Hey, all right, Chris. Awesome. Right. Good. You see we're tracking here.
I'm not, but I didn't play games with my brother.
Get out of here, Jesse. We don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
We don't care about your siblings.
This is the Lonely Kid Club, all right? Come on. So I'm playing that with my son, and that's cool because it's this story about finishing what you started to me. When I write that right up, it'll be there. But the game, I have Trials of Mana for the Switch, and I'm way more excited to try that eventually. But here, my games that I'm playing, I did Luigi's Mansion 3. That was already beaten, and that's the first review on our website. But currently I'm playing... I'll be playing Monster Hunter Rise tonight. That is going to be my next big review. Mario 3D World, I'm dropping a review for that tomorrow on our website, and we do a heart rating. We do it out of 5 hearts. We're underpowered. So that's the other thing. We're underpowered because we're always trying to catch up, right? We're underleveled. We're underpowered.
Nice.
We're catching up in the back.
I like it.
And so those are my big two. I've been trying to do. I have to do the whole Ace Attorney trilogy, which I kind of was like, oh, I'm playing 3 games instead of 1. I bit that off. Axiom Verge is on my list.
Oh yeah, yep.
And that's because I played Hollow Knight last year for our backlog challenge, and that game is so good. So anyway, that's up on our Instagram. You can see some of them that we posted, which is I'll promote later. But so we do this backlog challenge, and we're not. The thing was, before we were racing through the games and we weren't really appreciating them. Now we're taking our time and having to rate the reviews, and that's going to be our move moving forward. I'm really excited for Monster Hunter Rise. Tim, I'm really, really hoping you and I can exchange friend codes so we can play together, because I'm always looking people to team up.
Yes.
All right, yes, awesome. That is on my. All right, we're making it happen.
And I might join you on those raids. It all depends on what might happen. We'll see. We're gonna see what happens tomorrow, aren't we, Tim?
Yes.
What's your weapon? What's your weapon you're thinking of rocking? What do you like to play with in Monster Hunter? If you guys played the demo, did you try?
I did not want to touch the demo because I wanted to go in fully blind, fully new, fully just from the get-go. And but I probably will just start off with the sword and shield.
Okay.
But, just the basics of those, and then go from there as I get more familiar with, what other people are saying and what they're playing with, and go from there. But also, I've been also eyeballing the. I like playing quick too, so I'd be able to go quick. So I'll probably use lighter weapons and stuff like that too.
Longsword probably wouldn't want it, or the.
No.
Yeah.
But also the hammer is the hammer weapons too are kind of interesting.
They're cool.
Those, so.
I'm really liking the range weapons. The heavy crossbow gun is. I was very surprised when you played the demo how it feels on the triggers. I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Someone has to be the bard. Someone has to be the hunter horn, is what I found. Because this is my first word. Like, you need the healer, which is it's a weird instrument, but in any group. So I'm gonna be playing that for the next month or so, and then I'm gonna hopefully be dropping a bunch of other games. I'm trying to think of the other game. Oh, an Octopath. I'm replaying that, and then I will be also playing Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Nice. Yes.
And I'm excited to play that because I'm a Nintendo guy. Like, I will always have a Nintendo system. They obviously put me through school. Like, they're important to my background. But I also that's why I like your guys' podcast, is because Nintendo games are just great. And everyone thinks I'm like a homer or I'm biased. And sure, maybe I am. But I think everybody has the Nintendo game they love. And like your grandma's like, oh, you already have a Nintendo and you have a Sega. Everyone knows it's a Nintendo, right? And
you do have a Nintendo game you love, unless you're a person with no joy, as we discussed last week.
If you don't like a Nintendo game, like, okay, you're a bad person and we can't be friends at that point. Like, if you don't have something that's like, this is the one. The other one is Inkenfell, and then I have to do Overcooked 2 on stream with Shelby. We're going to do a live stream 6 hours. So if we don't kill each other.
Overcooked 2 is so good. So good.
It looks so fun. I want my wife to play it, and she's like, that sounds ridiculous. And my wife's like she's a food writer, really into the cooking world, so I think it'd be a perfect game.
That is my wife's kind of like go-to game. We love it. We can't wait for Overcooked 3. If there's a DLC pack, it's down instantly. Like, it's literally a Valentine's Day. We opened a bottle of like liquor, and
very Canadian of you. Not wine, liquor.
Yeah. Well, sure. Look, we were living in Ireland. It was actually a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, there you
go.
So
lit up some nice candles, and then played Overcooked for 3 hours. Like, that was our date night.
And then their quality of gameplay degraded.
No, we just got better. You know what I'm saying? We just got a lot better.
You find that there's that weird diminishing
you play
return.
better when you're drinking?
That's also how I play golf.
Yes.
And Mario Golf.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm excited for Mario Golf more than anything. Speed golf. I think speed golf is going to be the meta that everyone cares about. I saw that. I was like, I'm interested.
Yeah.
But so I play a lot of games, and currently on our stream, so I've been starting our stream. I am playing Fire Emblem 6 Binding Blade. That never came to America. I have a Japanese version of it, but I got an emulated version because I'm okay with emulation. But I also believe you need to own the product if you're going to emulate. I've always felt that way, and that's the rules. I believe, right? I don't know if I'm breaking any red tape, but there's fan translation patch for that one. and I'm playing that, and I'm playing it. When I usually play a Fire Emblem, I will restart. I've always loved permadeath. I love Nuzlocks for Pokemon. If you're familiar with the Nuzlocke and the Pokemon challenges, anything that like
I have a hard time playing the game
that.
normally, much less Nuzlocks. My son tried one; it didn't go well.
They're hard. It makes it really hard, but it's fun.
We did a retro rewind last year. I think it was for the first 3 Pokemons, and some of the people who play Pokemon all the time decided to do that. So I think Third Strongest Mole in our chat was one of them that did that.
If you're a hardcore Pokemon, like if you play them all the time, you have to do it once. And there's some that are way harder, way better experience. But this Fire Emblem 6, it's the game that features, the dude from Smash Brothers, Roy. That's what like my running joke is. Oh, it's Roy. Roy's in this game.
From Smash Brothers.
Roy from Smash Brothers is there. And it's fun. It's really punishing because it's the Blazing Blade, the one that came to America first on the GBA, is the prequel and came after with better improvements to the mechanics. Like Awakening and 3 Houses on, the game has gotten so polished and so good. And to see where it's come now, and for me playing this, because I played Sacred Stones, I played all those, but this is one I haven't played, and I forgot. I'm like, oh man, like Faiths are useless in this. They can't become assassins. I don't know if you guys are big Fire Emblem guys.
Justin totally is.
This is like no. It's a dating sim also. Like at the end of it, right? That's what I'm really into.
Yeah, I've been told by many people that I need to play 3 Houses because I don't like strategy games. I am a Persona fan, and there seems to be a lot of Persona in.
Yes,
in that.
That's my understanding. It's also I'm a teacher, so there's a teaching sim. Like, how can I build this unit? How do I want to educate them? I'm into that. But if you want to watch me fail, I've currently lost 13 units on my run there because permadeath is real and I'm not restarting the chapter. So I'm playing with it to quote Draco in Rocky 4. If he dies, he dies.
Nice.
That's my motto.
It's going to make
there.
the end game kind of to the point of impossible, won't it?
Kind of. I'm at a point where I said on stream, I was like, hey, I'm going to level up these characters in the arena and we'll see what happens. And so like, if you don't press B fast enough in the arena, a character will die. If I'm doing this, I have to be really focused. If there's a bad matchup, I'm spamming my B button as fast as I can because I don't want it to go south. And it's so hopefully moving forward, I have a set group, but they're getting stronger and they're really strong where they're at and they'll level up. So we'll see. And I might fail in the run and not beat the game. We'll see, right? That's the other thing. So
nice.
Strongest Mole in the chat says, R.I.P. Growlithe, taken too soon by a Voltorb's critical self-destruct.
It's the worst. The worst is when your starter dies. Because that's like, to me, that's your pet that you first got. It's like, this is my first dog, and I'm out here, and then a rat kills it. And...
it's kind of the same thing. Like I could never do a Nuzlocke because of the sentimentality of it.
Yes.
That's why I can't do the genocidal round on Undertale because once you start building a bond with those characters, it's like you do the true pacifist round, and the end result, the payoff is so good that it's like, why would I go back and kill all these beloved characters?
Right. That was on my backlog last year for our first year because it's our year anniversary. So tomorrow our year anniversary episode drops, and
happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
Thanks.
Congratulations!
I appreciate it. It was a random thing, and it's really I set my expectations really low, and we've exceeded them. Yes. So that's good. And Undertale is a great game. I love that. And the thing with the Nuzlocke thing, you can do things to make it more like. Do you name your Pokemon when you play Pokemon? How many do you name your Pokemon?
Yes, Pikachu. I do. Yep.
See, do you call your dog? Is your cat? Like that's how I think of it, right?
Here's the thing.
I like taking the name of the Pikachu.
Do I keep my dog in an expandable ball and make it fight at my command? No.
If you could.
I do. What? You don't do that? I thought we do that. Yeah. I take the Pokemon name and I try to take the actual Pokemon name and turn it into its name, not just like, Pikachu. I'll call it Chewy.
Oh, there you go.
So something like that.
I always do like a theme. Like it's either like, oh, this run will be like anime characters. Like Pikachu would be Kakashi from Naruto because of the thunder, or Thor.
You've inspired me, and when I play through my next Pokemon game, they're all going to be various meats.
There you go.
Bacon, ham.
My Tepig is always named Prosciutto.
Brisket.
That would be funny.
It's happening.
There you go.
When Roger got started in Twitch and YouTube, he had a Blaziken that his nickname was just KFC.
Nice. I named mine Sriracha. That was my
Colonel.
Blaziken. Yeah, Colonel.
It's going to be Colonel. Is going to be mine. There you go.
Sweet.
So that is what I'm playing, and I'm excited to be playing Monster Hunter with you guys. And now that I'm in the Discord, because I again joined the Patreon, which I recommend anybody listening, go join it. You have a $1, a $5, and a $10 option, or if you want to be really cool, you can join the 30. Now they only paid me. No, I'm kidding. I would recommend them. I recommend it because they're a bunch of cool guys.
I love it.
Mole says he names his Pokemon after famous physicists and mathematicians.
That's great.
And look at him. He's like, I'm doing this and this. Is it physicists and mathematicians? I'm over here like, I'm naming mine after meats.
Yeah. Hey, man, barbecue's good. Barbecue good, right?
Marty,
yeah, that's right.
Marty, you could also, another way you could go to is name them after Transformers.
Ooh.
Oh. There you go. Or Ninja Turtles. I always name my turtle, like my Squirtle's always Leonardo because he's blue. Like,
there you go.
Unless you get a shiny one.
Okay.
And he's Donatello.
I like all the pop culture references. It's good.
I'm probably going to go with G.I. Joe the next time.
I'll
go with G.I. Joe characters.
Oh, there's so many good names from that.
Yes.
Snake Eyes.
Yes.
What was the sailor? The sailor's name in G.I. Joe?
Oh gosh.
Beachhead. Shipwreck.
Shipwreck. Yes, that's what
Shipwreck.
It was. So,
Beachhead was the naval trooper.
Yes.
Well, and Marty, you're a WWE guy. Like, go all wrestlers.
There you
Stone
go.
Cold.
Yeah, dude.
Yes. I love it. I
want to see his team names of all his Pokemon.
I would too. I'm huge into competitive Pokemon. I play VGCs. I've stopped because of the podcast. I'm always following the competitive scene. So when I build a better rig, I'd like to do a road to Master Ball. We have some plans for what we want to do with the show, but it's like a 3-man team right now. So we're trying to grow. And I look at you guys, I'm like, man, I got to do what they're doing. But I know like Rome wasn't built in a day either too. No. So I always try to pace myself.
Marty, you got to have a team of 4 and call them the 4 Horsemen.
Yes.
Flare, the fire type Flare, right?
Yes.
They're going to come down there and crush them, baby.
Yes.
Thunder from down under.
You could do the Rhodes family and have each one named after
They don't know what's coming, baby. They don't know nothing about hard times.
The Heart Foundation. The Heart Foundation.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And I couldn't get closing time as an audio cue here. Come on, Jesse.
I'm sorry.
Just you gotta have clout.
I know, right?
You gotta have the razzle dazzle, baby.
I'm gonna do DX. I gotta do DX.
Oh yeah, Road Dog.
Jesse, rescue us! What have you been playing?
Billy Gun. Oh yeah, what have you been playing?
All right, so
speed round.
I'll try.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Yesterday was I don't know what to play. I'll try many things. So I did the Tim route yesterday. A game I picked up on Xbox a while ago. It was on sale for like $5 last month or January. Blue Dragon. It's a JRPG with the artist by Akira Toriyama, from Dragon Quest and Dragon Ball Z, and the game designer is from Final Fantasy, and the music director is from Final Fantasy. So I'm like, oh, this sounds like something I might like. And I'm 30 minutes in, and like, I don't like this combat and the stories.
I remember being really hyped for this as far as the designs go back when it first came out on Xbox, and like
it's like a really early 360 game.
Really important game, and then finding it in bargain bins about 2 months after it came out.
Yeah. And the save screen when it asked me it. I don't know if it's because of how Xbox One's emulating 360 save states, but it basically pops up a screen that looks like it's in 420p and looks like it's using the old Xbox blades, which hasn't been around in a long time. And I had to pick, like, the first entry was for, like, the cloud save. So again, I don't know if it's really in the cloud on my account or if it's stored on the machine
or if you saved it at all.
I saved it. It says I got about 35 minutes in, but I'm probably not going to go back to that. And for part of Monthly Mayhem, I played. My part of that was against Drew, playing ice hockey. And it's like, I haven't played this game since about 1988.
Nice.
So I'm like, I'm already screwed. I just know it. The rules they gave me was if I lose, I get 5 points. If I beat Drew, then I get 10 points. If I beat Drew by the 6-point mercy score, then I get 15 points. And he beat me. It was like 11 to 4. No, 11 to 7. 11 to 6 or 7. Because he never got the 6 points ahead of me. It was he scored, I scored, he scored, I scored, then he scored 5 times before I. So he came close, and then I had a good second period. I got it to within 2 or 3 points again, and then the third period was his. So yeah, I got 5 points. Yeah, okay. Another game I bought it came out on Switch last month. It was called Healer's Quest. The game premise of the game is it's like in a JRPG, you're the healer, and you only control the healer. You can't control anyone else in the party. I thought this would be more turn-based, so I can have time to think and strategize. But no, it's more action-based. And if you want to, so you each time you cast a heal spell, it still costs so much of your MP, and you can push the button and hold it, and they'll just go cast constantly to healing them, draining your MP until you run out, and then you can't heal anymore. Then they die, and then they get upset. They have a happiness meter that will lower or. He found something. He found his Chrono Trigger.
No way.
So
I'm so excited you found it.
No. It gets worse. Hold on a second. Sorry.
Oh, it's not in
I
there.
know. I remember. I know what's gonna happen.
it's empty.
Womp, womp.
If that was my house, there would be a different game in there.
Children and I are going to have a conversation.
Anyway, so yeah,
I think this happened with you and Roger too. You found the case, and you're like, I think my kids have it. Oh no.
Yep.
I was hoping you would replace that. That's sad.
And Healer's Quest, I think it was probably designed to be a mobile game because it's designed for a touch interface. They do have things that most things has ways around it. So because I was playing on a docked, but by the time I got into the first dungeon, it says if you ever want to leave the dungeon and go right back to the last town, click the button in the upper left corner. But I couldn't. There was no way for me to get a cursor up there. So like I think his touchstone is touch mode only, which I'm like, okay, this is where I'm done, because the next fight I'm going to lose everybody. So I'm like, okay, so I didn't like that game. Hatsune Miku Logic Paint S came out last week. It's a Picross game, not from Jupiter, and you can tell it's not from Jupiter if you're familiar with their games. The games, I haven't had any significant issues with them. In fact, if anything, they make things too easy. It's like if you fill in all the squares, then it'll auto-populate the X's. I don't have a big issue with that, so I'm okay with that. One thing I do have an issue with is it tells you, like if, say, a row has 1, 1, 1, and then you put one square in the middle, where it could be either one of the three. It could be the first one, the middle one, or the last one. You don't know yet. But it'll say, oh, no, your middle one's good. I'm like, don't tell me it's the middle one yet. I haven't figured that out. So it's giving me too many hints. And I'm trying to ignore those and solve them, puzzles the way I normally solve them. But yeah, I think that the big point of that is the music. You get each level, you can unlock up to 3 stars, one for solving it, one for using no hints, one for getting no errors. So I'm solving all these. If I make an error, I'll just reset the board and to start over. So everything I've solved, I've had 3 stars. You turn in the stars to unlock up to 18 songs. Again, because she's, I think, if I'm thinking of the right one, is like the Japan virtual diva character who'll put on concerts. If you saw the Octoling and KK Slider concerts in Japan, that technology was kind of based off of what Hatsune Miku started. So but all these songs are chiptune-y, and I'm like, I was hoping for a little better quality music in a game on a character based on her music. So I'm normally just playing the game on either mute or very low volume while I'm watching other things. So I'm probably not getting the most advantage out of that game. But there's a lot of puzzles. There's there's 45 level 1s, which are 5x5s and 10x10s. There's 150 15x15s. There's 150 20x20s. And then there are, I think, another 200 15x15s in groups of 25, where 25 smaller puzzles make a bigger puzzle type of thing. So, there's a lot of content in here, over like almost 500 puzzles. It'll take me a while to get through, but it's again, still, it's not a Jupiter game, so I'm still looking forward to the next one of those to come down. And the last game I wanted to mention is Cyanide and Happiness, Freakopocalypse. I pretty much played that over the weekend, and what's that? Yeah, for some reason I'm not hearing you, but he's asking if it's based on the comic strips, and yes, it's that same universe.
Okay.
In fact, they've had a YouTube channel for years, and I saw a YouTube channel video from 7 years ago that made a joke that that joke's in the game.
Oh, cool.
And so first of all, the jokes can be pretty raunchy. It's not don't play this game in front of kids. It's not a kid game. But basically, the game starts off with you are this loser in high school. No one wants to be your friend except for this one girl who's your friend, and you don't even know why. But it's just kind of like a day in the life in the school, trying not to get beaten up. And it took me 10 hours to play through it, just because there's a lot of things to interact with. Like every object you can, look at it, touch it, and try to talk to it. So if you're trying to do that everything to collect all the collectibles, that'll take a while. But if you know what you're doing and want to streamline it, the game could be played in under 2 hours or an hour and a half. But this is, even though they don't say part 1 anymore, in the title, this is part 1. Apparently, it's of a 3-part, and so the apocalypse part of the title's sake doesn't really happen until the very end. So spoiler, but really not really, because they tell you in the title that something's going to happen. But if you like that type of humor, it's worth the playing through. Again, it's also designed for PC and mouse. So when you move around with the left stick and your right stick moves around a cursor, that takes a little bit of while to get used to. But once you're used to it, it can fly through clicking on everything relatively fast. And I liked it, and I don't remember who did a video for playing the first half hour of the game on our channel, but he was enjoying it too.
Awesome. Justin, what have you been playing?
Sure, I will be super quick. I've been playing 3 or 4 games that I absolutely adore, all of them. So if you're like, hey, what game should I get from Justin's point of view? All 3 of these. I've been playing Plants vs. Zombies, Battle for Neighborville. That came out last week. I'm really, really enjoying that. I think that's been super, super cool and a lot of fun. I have played Kaze and the Wild Masks, and that came out yesterday. And if you are Kaze, sorry, if you're Kaze, if you were a kid of the 90s, late or early 90s, like I was playing the Super Nintendo, you remember playing Donkey Kong Country or Earthworm Jim? This is all up in that jam. This is the perfect combination. To say that it is inspired by Donkey Kong Country is a little bit light. It is basically like a Donkey Kong lift, but also modernized to 2021. So that is a really there are some masks you put on. There's a mask you put on where you're a shark underwater, and it literally feels like you're playing as the swordfish from Donkey Kong. Just some of the moves. So I am absolutely, absolutely loving that. I highly recommend that one. The price might feel a little bit high, though. I will say it was 40 Canadian. So I think that's 30 US.
Yeah, 30.
I would say from my playing of it, the value is worth it, but I think that's the high end for sure. Like if money's a bit tight. The other one is, and I got roasted in our Discord about how I say this. El Hijo.
It's Eho.
El Hijo. Again, Canadian. Hijo. Canadian, French, Canadian. No, okay. Wild West Tale. I had mentioned this game about 6 to 8 weeks ago because I played it on Google Stadia, and I really, really loved it. It is a stealth-based game that looks like Disney created it. And if you talk about like family-friendly, approachable, playing with kids, it isn't 2-player, but it's one of those like, hey, I'll try a run, you try a run, and it's a lot of fun. I would highly, highly recommend it. I am super, super enjoying it, and it's great. And of course, I've been playing more Apex Legends and more Fortnite because those are kind of my comfort foods of cocaine, if you would. So I'm on level 67 on my Apex Battle Pass.
Nice.
And considering they gave us, was it 20 or 25 to start off with, or the 30? 30. So in 2 weeks, I've gone up 37 levels on my Battle Pass.
Is it running better on the Switch now than the launch?
They did a patch about a week later, and it ran a little bit better for sure. There's still some audio issues, and I'm putting out a video tomorrow, actually, which are my 5 things that Apex needs to fix. Okay. I'm excited if the Switch Pro indeed does happen to see that kind of the rendering that potentially that may happen with that. Also, Panic Button is known to do patches later to kind of smooth out some of those things. Right. I did hear a big trick, though. Someone mentioned I was I was watching a video from Thornton Smash, and he just does Apex content. And what he actually said is move the game over to your actual hard drive, not your SD card, if you can. And just the way it pulls is a little bit easier. Now I went to do that, and I moved all my games off of my hard drive and onto my SD card, and I still had about 12 gigs of space that I couldn't clear because the game is 20 gigs to start off with. So I wasn't able to move it, but he moved it. He showed a video where he moved it, and he said there was a performance bump for sure. So something to think about there as well.
Yeah, during the pre-show, I was looking through my Switch trying to see how much space the save states take, because the save states are on the system and can't be moved. Mm-hmm. All you can do is delete them or keep them. And I'm thinking, Animal Crossing probably takes up a bunch, but I couldn't find it in the list. Then I realized because it's not a user level save, it's a system level save, and you probably can't touch that.
Yeah. So that's what I've been playing, but I would recommend like all those games. I loved all of them. March has been a great month for amazing games, in my opinion, for at least myself. But yeah.
Awesome. Tim, what about you?
So I've been playing more Outer Worlds, the Peril of Gorgon DLC that I started and did the video on. Again, it's been something that's every day. It's always after playing it. The next day I'm always thinking about that game, and I want to get back into it right away. Great feeling. So it's like I've been jumping back into it, and especially if that newest DLC comes out for the Switch, I want to be able to play that too. It's like a murder mystery DLC, I guess, for the Outer Worlds. It seems interesting, but I don't know too much about it. Like again, I've been trying to stay focused on what I've been playing, what I got so far. So I still got to beat the game, and I still got this DLC. So. A lot going on there. Plus, I'm biding my time as well with all these other little things I've been poking at here for the Monster Hunter game, because I know it's going to suck a lot of my time. So, been playing more Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, the complete edition, with my son Sammy. And by the way, everybody, Sammy says hi as usual.
Hey, Sammy.
Hello, Sammy.
I have a Sammy too.
Yes. Yeah.
Hello to your Sammy.
Yeah. And every time he's like, when I don't have to go to school the next day, can I be on the Nintendo Dads? It's like, are you a dad yet? Okay. No. I told him he can stream with me though. So, but anyways,
nice.
Cool.
Among Us, I've been playing because we did that actually this past Saturday during our Saturday Let's Play sessions. We do that every other Saturday right now, where we get together during a good time for the UK folks to get together and play. And that's usually in the middle of the day here for us in Eastern Standard Time. So whoever in the U.S. can join in usually joins in, but it's mainly for the UK time because it's the evening time for them. And then later on, we do an evening time Let's Play session as well. But both times during the UK's version of Let's Play and the US version, we did Among Us and we had a blast, especially during the second time around. We actually incorporated the voice chat. Basically, everybody went on mute when we played, and then when it was time to discuss who we thought was suspicious or sus, we went off mute and discussed it. And one thing I wanted to mention real quick too that I thought was freaking hilarious was I was the imposter, and I think it was just me. I think that round, I could be mistaken, but we were all grouped together. We had all gone to the reactor, and then when we left the reactor, I was trying to get through the decontamination area, and I kept smashing on the A button, trying to hurry up the door to get through it because I was in the group.
Someone?
No, I went through the vent. Next to everybody, and I started dying laughing, and I unmuted myself because I was like, "We should just end it now." And all that kind of stuff. I didn't say what happened, but I was just like, we should end it not. And everybody was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, did you guys not see that? They were like, see what? And I was like, never mind. And I went back on mute. Nobody saw me vent in front of them.
Wow.
It's like, because there was so many people huddled together. Everybody just kept moving in this huddle, but they never saw me disappear into the vent. If you're familiar with that game, that's essentially you'll know what I'm talking about. Yes, I vented in front of everybody, but nobody noticed because there was too many people, too many characters around.
Were you red?
I was actually yellow.
Okay, red I've like, it's a weird thing and phenomenon. If you're wearing red, you get voted out real fast. I've noticed.
Okay.
You're automatically suspect if you're in red.
Yes, that's true. That makes sense because I think my
except
daughter
for when I
red.
play, then purple gets voted out first every time.
There are some people who were just playing for the first time or in our group, and they got murdered first several times. So, but anyways, it was a blast. I think everybody had fun, and I think this the next play session that we're gonna have, because like I said, we do it every Saturday. We try to set a scheduled time, 3:00 and 9:30. I think it is Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday, we're gonna be doing a group play of Apex Legends. So trying to get people a chance to try it out some more, but in our group, we're going to limit it to the Switch instead of cross-platform. And hopefully if there's enough people on there, we'll get enough people going. I don't think we could play together unless we're playing trios or something like that, but I don't think we'll all be in the same map, but we'll see. We'll see how it turns out, but we're going to try it out. We'll be in the voice chat and all that kind of stuff. So looking forward to that. More Fortnite, but this was with my kids. We did trios together. My daughter is the bomb in this game. So she's always leading us and teaching my son and I some things that especially me, that I didn't know how to play. So I usually feel like I have more of a chance when my daughter's playing than if I were by myself.
Nice.
Which I've tried a couple times in this new season playing by myself. And I didn't do too bad. I got in the top 10, but still haven't gotten my win yet. So more Animal Crossing, just more poking around, just because I'm still trying to get my museum up completed in the art section. So still got a lot to go there. That's taking my time there. Because you can't help it because red only shows up like once a month, I think. And then tonight, actually, Monthly Mayhem, I participated, as I think I told you guys. I played soccer for the NES online against Spider Shan. He's in our community, and it was set up by our Dad's After Dark podcast guys. They've been doing this long before they even started that podcast, but they've been doing the Monthly Mayhem. In fact, they even did it before they called it Monthly Mayhem. They called it tournaments. I was actually looking through the archives and saw one of the folders there for that, and it was kind of fun to look through that. Again, Nintendo Dad's historian here, so I know that kind of stuff. So, but anyways, yeah, it was fun to play against Spider Shan. It was actually fun back and forth because he hadn't played in a long time. I never played it, so it was like brand new for the both of us essentially. And it was 1-1 for a while there, and then he pulled it out in the end. He beat me. I still got 5 points. He got 10 points, and I didn't get massacred, so I feel good about that.
Nice.
So, but that's what I've been playing.
Awesome. I've been playing Fortnite. Actually, since last show, I've not played anything all that much. We went away for a little getaway for a few days with the family and some friends, and stayed in the cabin. And maybe we played a lot of board games. Didn't play a lot of video games. Maybe got about 5 or 6 Fortnite matches in. I'm level 23, working my way through the battle pass. It's great. I've not touched Apex Legends since Season 6 of Fortnite came out.
Have y'all tried Spellbreak?
Yes.
Justin did for a while. Fortnite just keeps roping me in because of the tie-ins. Like the characters, and now they're starting to build out the story a little bit more. I'm actually going to buy comic books for the next couple of months because Batman, there's an armored Batman skin pack, I guess, that there's going to be a code in every one of the 0 Point comic books that you can redeem for in-game stuff. So,
okay. I collect I collect the IDW Ninja Turtles. If they get Ninja Turtles in Fortnite, I'm going to finally succumb to the Fortnite.
Did you play Spellbreak, Casey?
Yeah, I played Spellbreak, and they just dropped their second chapter, the 5v5. And if you guys like Fortnite, it might be a good change of pace. Yeah, and it's something that's fun. But the 5v5 has a lot of potential for that game.
Okay,
I was thinking, like speaking on that, I was thinking about picking up Plants vs Zombies, but I just don't have if I'm gonna do that and Apex and Fortnite, I don't have enough time for online shooters in my life. So I have to pick one or two. And so I think I'm going to stick with Fortnite as being my main one and dabble in Apex. But yeah, I still can't seem to get the hang of Apex. Fortnite, even with the changes that came about in this season with crafting and everything, it was within the first game. I was like, oh yeah, I'm good to go. I know what to do. Yeah. But there's still Apex stuff that I'm like, yeah, I don't
Is it a love-hate relationship with Apex? Why I'm hate myself for playing this, but I want to get good? Is it?
Yeah, I do. I want to get good at it. I can't make myself play it the way you're supposed to play it. I know it's very fast, it's tactical, it's team-based, run and gun. I more prefer to be, I don't need to depend on anybody else. Yeah. So that's why I like Fortnite. I'm fine with catching up with Justin or somebody in duos in Fortnite because I know he can play, and I know that we can pretty much handle it on our own. But with Apex, I just don't. I don't even know what the weapons do or what all the modifiers do yet. All the powers. I'm playing Gibraltar simply because that's the one I got on first, and I kind of learned, oh yeah, he's got a shield. But when I go from Fortnite where I'm killing 10 people per game or 15 people per game, and I can't even hit anybody in Apex, then that makes me feel like crap. I'm what is going on? So I know it's more about me than it is the game, the actual game, but I've got to put more time into it. And when that's going to happen, I don't know.
Hey, Casey, I got into Spellbreak for about 2 to 3 weeks when it came out. I really liked it. I really liked the verticality of it. I think when it launched, because it launched in September, as I recall, on the Switch, it still felt a little bit buggy. Felt like they hadn't kind of ironed everything out, and maybe going back for taking a look at it later. But I enjoyed the verticality of it. I thought that was really cool.
The floating.
I like the floating. I like the ability to kind of change your gauntlets, kind of change your specials, right? Those abilities. There are definitely there's some kind of Fortnite Apex Overwatch-esque elements of that, which I thought was really cool.
when the magics play off each other, like if you have poison and wind, you can make a toxic tornado. So there's some like cool like science to it as well. They've done a lot with that. It's surprising the team. Like that game came out of nowhere for me. I was like, what is this? And I don't really like shooters. That's the thing. So if I like it, that's like my friends were very surprised. There's something. It kind of reminds me of Quake, but not as fast. There's some elements to it, but like the jumping movement and you're in the air a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Well, guys, that's what we've been playing. Let's turn on the community spotlight here for just a couple of minutes. And the focus of our community spotlight on the show this week is, of course, Casey Kuehl from Underpowered Podcast.
What?
Why don't you tell us? You already kind of gave us a little bit about your podcast. And
I did.
Again, we want to celebrate your first anniversary with you guys.
Appreciate it.
Over this weekend. That's a very awesome milestone to get to. Encourage you to keep plugging away because you're doing some good stuff over there. But if people want to listen to your podcast or they want to connect with you outside of the show, how would you guide them to do that?
So we're on all major podcast platforms. So if you just type in Underpowered, you'll find us that way. Our website is Underpowered Media. We post stuff there. We have our Nintendo Dads collab top Zelda games that everybody gave our top 5. That's on there. You can find us on Twitter at Underpowered Pod. We're under.powered on Instagram. But again, if you just go to Underpowered Media, it's all connected there. Same to our Discord. We're always looking for people to join and come and talk games. And that's what we love to do. We're trying to build our own community, much like yours, for people that are looking to catch up on gaming or talk about games to see if they're still worth their time that they missed out on.
Awesome. And so you guys go check out the Underpowered Podcast. Really, really cool stuff they're doing over there. Casey, we want to thank you for being on the show. Again,
I appreciate your time.
Dive into some questions. And specifically this first one we want to direct at you and Justin, because last week people got to hear the rest of our opinion on this. And so this is from Tim from last week, and he asked this question. Does Nintendo grow with gamers, or do gamers outgrow Nintendo? And he goes on to say, maybe this is why so many people are angry on the internet. They want Nintendo to grow with them and change with them. But Nintendo is always about being accessible and fun for everyone, which means the longer we are fans of Nintendo, the more likely it is that we will be disappointed. Casey, what do you think? Do people outgrow Nintendo, or does Nintendo outgrow them?
That's a loaded question. Like, if you really think about it, like it's I think people can outgrow in a lot of things. Like, people can outgrow friendships, right? That's like a weird thing as you get older. Like, this was someone that I've been friends with since I was 5, but we don't have anything in common, you know? I think that if you're yearning for days of past, you're always going to be disappointed. And if you're in for something new and enjoying the ride, you won't outgrow it. I think it's a mindset too. I think a lot of people, as an educator, I'm really big on the idea of growth mindset, right? In that people can choose to want to, like, I say this, and this is like a teacher talk. I always, with older teachers, I always talk about this, like, when you're not willing to learn yourself as an educator, you're a giant hypocrite, right? If you're not willing to take in new information, because every day I'm asking a kid to learn something new. I have to remind myself, they're this age, this is a new concept to them. This is, whatever I'm teaching, right? This is something new. So if you think you're outgrowing Nintendo or Nintendo outgrows you, Nintendo's moving with the next generation, right? And I'm curious how many people feel like the game speed up for them too, or they've seen it, they've done it, that kind of thing. But no, I think it's the person. I don't think Nintendo outgrows you. I think it's on the person. I think the person either outgrows it and their interests change, right? Because, like, if I compare myself to 10 years ago, I'm a very different person, right? But my love for Nintendo is always there because at the core, I like gaming and I like a good game experience. Maybe you just don't care about video games anymore, right? Or maybe you moved to PlayStation, or maybe you moved to this, like you found your niche. And that's okay too. But I would never say Nintendo's outgrown them. I think it's a person. I think it all goes back to choice. And if you outgrow something, it's how your mind has changed and what your mindset is. But if you're wanting Nintendo to be a certain way and it's not your way, then you need to do some self-reflection saying, well, what am I looking for? Because if this isn't making me happy, something else is, and not be mad at Nintendo. I get tired of mad people on the internet.
Real good answer. I like that. Justin, what about you? How do you?
Yeah, I mean, I actually think Casey's spot on. I really do. I think that individuals outgrow. I think Nintendo quintessentially for their 35 plus years has been in their swim lane. They know what they are. Yeah. They keep in that lane, and it's whether you choose to be in that lane or not. And that's a decision you make, right? And there was a period of time that I was not in that lane, right? I swam over to the PlayStation lane and did that for about 5 or 6 years, exclusively, right? And it was that idea of like, that was where all my friends were. That was where all the systems were. That was the thing that I kind of like. I outgrew jumping on Goombas, but I wanted blood and guts and right. And then I realized I was like, but this isn't fun, right? I'm not enjoying this. Right. And I was like, this isn't. So I'm like, well, you guys keep playing that game over there, and I'm gonna go back to Mario, right? And so you go back to your lane. I think my commentary is that. You know, Nintendo doesn't need to change the formula they do. I think they have this really sweet spot, right, with their fans, with their base, and nostalgia is such a huge and powerful thing. And my other comment is just like what you like and be okay with that, right?
Right. Be yourself.
Yeah. Be true to you. So yeah.
Yeah. Good, wise words from both of you guys. This question comes to us via our email address. You can email your question into us at nintendodads@gmail.com, just like Mr. Brendan Howarth, who asked us this. He says, I was listening to your podcast last week about outgrowing Nintendo, and I want to offer a counter argument. I love Nintendo, always have. But do you think the popular entitlement that all games on my console must be games I like or they're trash is poisonous to our own enjoyment of gaming? And he gives this example. I don't like Xenoblade Chronicles, not my thing, but I just don't play those games. I love Zelda, so I always play those. I feel that having the expectation that all games must be games I like is just not the right mindset. As I said earlier, I don't like Xenoblade, but I think they're good games. They're just not for me, and that's okay. I also don't like going into a game feeling that Nintendo owes me my expectations. Creating a game is art. I like to watch the story unfold, and as is always the truth, art is subjective. Mm-hmm. I may hate it, but to someone else, it may be a treasure that helps them through a difficult time, and I'm glad they have it.
Yeah, this is so well done and so well spoken, and I, you know, I'll play this advocate side for a second here, because I'm always the jerk of like, Jesse's like, yeah, look at Picross. I'm like, oh my god, you again, right? Oh, that's horrible, right? There's
Picross and Dragon Quest.
Yeah, Picross and Dragon Quest and Age of Calamity. These are all garbage,
I didn't play Age of Calamity either.
No, I know, but I get that on the internet. It's a bit of a character I'm playing, right? But I do believe in your statement here, which is like, you just like what you like, and that's okay. And also realize that not everything is for you, and that's also okay. You stay or play in the lane that makes you happy and that you like, and that's, you know, like for me to like for Tim to like Monster Hunter and for me not to like Monster Hunter doesn't mean Tim's an idiot and that I'm superior. It just means, you know, he likes pizza and I like burgers. That doesn't mean that those are things that aren't bad or good or bad. They're just like, I have different tastes. And I think that there's a tribal
pineapple or not, and that goes for both of you.
Pineapple needs to get the F off of pizza. You know what I'm saying? That needs to get out of here.
I will have a pineapple.
Sorry. All right, guys, this is over.
I'll have pineapple on the pizza and the hamburger.
Yeah, there you go. So much of this comes back to the console wars and the tribalisms that associate with that. And that is such a, you know, you talk about the idea of toxicity within the gaming culture and the gaming community. I do believe a lot of that stems back there. And again, I was a kid in the 80s and 90s. So it was like, Nintendo's better and you're Sega and blah, right? Like there was a lot of that. But as we grew up to be like adults and teenagers, it just got worse, right? We were all kind of in that. So I do believe there is this level of exclusivity and toxicity and tribalism that associates with those type of things, not only in Xbox versus Sony versus Stadia versus everything else, but also just within our own communities of tribes, right? Which is, you like JRPGs, I like platformers, right? How about y'all just like what you like, be happy, and shut the F up?
Why not both?
I'm a big fan of that. I like that. Shut up. I think social media too is the issue in that it promotes, like that social media has said, like arguments and people arguing is what people are drawn to. So the algorithm makes people go to that more, and the toxicity is pushed, right? Yep. And if people just were their authentic selves and treated each other nice, like you're saying, that's okay. You can like what you like. That's the other thing. People can't have a civil conversation anymore.
Yeah,
you are pegged. It's there's no gray. It's black or white. You are this. You like this. You are the enemy. It's like we can have a discourse and you can see I'm a normal person. No one wants to have a discourse anymore. There's
this idea that if I win, and so if I win, you have to lose. Do you know what I mean? It is a zero sum game, and our conversation right now, Casey, is going beyond the scope of video games, right, in general society. But I truly believe there is a zero sum game, winner and loser. There is no gray zone, and that is really splitting our society, polarizing it. And if we just seek to understand, and again, my caricature on the show of like, oh my gosh, Jesse's playing Picross, oh boo, man, here's the honesty of like me taking that mask off and that facade. Man, I'm so happy that Jesse has games that he connects with. Yeah. I'm so glad that those bring him the joy that he brings and the happiness that he has about it and just the enthusiasm. Now, I know that those don't scratch my itch, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't exist. Man, the new Picross is coming out. Jesse's on that. Man, I'm excited for you. Did you get it? Awesome. Let's hear about that. Right. And I think that's really where we as a society, I think it's as we as
showing a 45-minute video of me solving the 35 40 puzzle.
Yeah. Am I watching the video to watch that? No, but Jesse's commentary, probably. But I also think that and if we sit this pocket into like the parenting pocket there, we as stewards, we as shepherds of our flock, of our children, that's what we need to begin to have this conversation about is having healthy conversations of seek to understand why do they think that way? Why do you feel that way? Not win or lose. And unfortunately, everything in society is teaching us that. And we need to grow people who are genuinely people.
To make it full circle too, though, video games are a great surface level conversation to teach people how to have a civil conversation. Yep. And it's okay to disagree, right? Like I miss the time where you could say, well, I guess we're just going to have to agree to disagree, right? Yep. People now, I remember I had an argument with someone about a very political topic. And I was like, well, we'll just agree to disagree. We're done with this conversation when I'm done with it. And I was like, no, that's not how it works. Like, this isn't going anywhere. Yep. With video games, like you said, like you also like to razz your friends. Like if you're a guy, like growing up, making fun of your friends is what you do. We're mean to each other in a certain sense. Like we like to give each other a hard time. So there's a difference with that. Like you can make fun of Jesse, but if some random troll on the internet, you're going to back Jesse.
You are coming down with a thunder. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like, it's like I can talk bad about my family, but you can't because it's my family. It goes back to that, right? So, I get it.
That's the benefit of having what we have too in our Discord community, and what you were saying, Casey, that you're trying to build is that we've all found that when we go to Twitter and try to express our opinions there, we get attacked in a lot of cases in some areas, or even in some of the forums on Facebook as well. It's been the case. But when creating Discord and ours, for example, it's always been coming together and understanding everybody's differences, where they're coming from and all that, and being able to even in some instances try out things that you may not have tried before because someone else is really talking it up, and saying, hey, this game is really awesome. I'm having a good time with it. Oh, really? I didn't know that, game did that. I should go check that out. So, and a lot of people tease me for, me not completing games because I'm always trying all the different games, but I can't help it. Everybody's talking up these games and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go try it.
Got the game in FOMO for sure.
Right. So, but that's what I like about how these communities, whether it be in Discord or some other forum, have been able to get together and be able to talk like that.
But I also think the other part of that, and not to pop collars, but I also think like that's also on the community creators. Yes. Do you know what I mean? Like, and we're okay in our group to have a discourse or have a, like, hey, I don't necessarily agree. But like if something goes off the rails and we start seeing some toxicity, like I don't care how much you give us for a month, get that out of our community. We'll just kick you. And we're done with this.
I don't think we've ever had that yet. Thankfully,
no. John Blanco, I am looking at you. You are on strike 2. I will come at you, son.
No, but you're right.
He's going to do to respond to that is say play Age of Calamity.
I know he is exactly it.
But you're not like, yeah, you pay me. I'm not your puppet. Like you don't get to treat me like trash. Like you're paying me because you enjoy what we do, and I want you to be a part of that. But like boundaries are important too. Yeah. It's a weird time.
And that in and of itself is, I think, why we, do you want to be in the Discord? Okay, you need to at least pay $1 a month. And that's the reason why is that we want people who invest and don't just like, I know lots of other podcasts that have a Discord. It's just like, yeah, you want to be in it. Here's the invite. And I'm not saying that is bad per se. I'm not saying that that's a wrong way to build a community. Don't hear me say that at all, because some of those people are people who are patrons of our show who also do podcasts of their own. And I want them to feel that way. But just for us, I think we believe that helps us maintain the level of community that we have.
Sure. Yeah, that was a stance that we took as kind of a almost like a safeguard, right? Is that you're probably not paying $1 to come be a jerk to us. Do you know what I mean? Like it's probably not going to happen.
And as I'm still a relatively new Discord user, I go to these servers that have 3,000 people where 700 people are on now talking. You get lost easy. You can't follow a conversation. So that's one, with us having a little bit of that filter in there, definitely does help. We're still, we're bigger than we ever thought we were going to be when we started this thing, but it's still not as hectic as some of these other servers I've seen.
Guys, there is one other question, but I feel like we kind of covered this earlier when we were talking about the Switch Pro. But basically, to distill it down, and I just want to brush it off to the side because Jesus always has such good questions for us. But just to kind of distill his question down, he asked this basically: do you feel like Nintendo has room for another system? Do you think that the new Switches are the Pro upgrade, or do you think that they might go a different route, like a more dedicated home console versus a handheld console? Justin, just kind of take us back to what we said here earlier in the show.
Yeah, sure.
You made a great point about this.
Yeah, I really just believe we're going to have 3 SKUs, much like the iPhone model, right? You're going to have the iPhone Max. You have the kind of the bottom entry line with the smaller iPhone, right? But it has all those other things built into it. And you have the mid-range, right? And that's really the 3 SKUs that they're going to have. This is not the Switch 2 or whatever you want to call it, but it is hey, if you're and that's also why they can justify that extra $100, right? Here's what our base one is. But if you want the better screen, right? Yeah. So if you want the better camera, right? You want the better processor, all these things, you pay that extra premium. That's really how they're justifying it. So I do believe it'll just be 3 SKUs.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that as well.
Same.
Guys, that is episode 319 of the Nintendo Dads podcast with our special guest, Casey Kuehl from Underpowered Pod. Casey, thanks for hanging out with us. I don't know what you guys' normal recording schedule is, but I know that for a lot of folks that come and hang out with us, this can kind of become a late night because we like to talk.
I was really worried that I was talking too much. So that's
great. You're great.
I had a great time. I really hope I can come back. I really look up to you guys.
Specific time, so it's
it's okay.
It's not his bedtime yet.
Yeah, it's not my bedtime. Well, my daughter, yeah. It depends.
Yeah. Right now. Well, guys, y'all be sure. Yeah, and you're so welcome, and you're welcome to come back anytime.
Absolutely.
All right, see you guys next week then. All right, cool.
There you go.
Be sure to go check out Underpowered Podcast and enjoy all the lists they're putting together over there. Some fantastic stuff.
Don't know about those bugles things though at number 3.
Dude, I'm telling you, I guys go listen to the episode with Nintendo Dads and you'll see Tim like shattered my world with that.
Yeah, there you go.
Video game and chips.
So as we close out the show, guys, just the thing here, we have over 5,200 people following us subscribe to us on YouTube right now. And we want to say a huge thank you if you are one of those. And we're almost at 1,000 followers on Twitch. We're at 969 as of the 18th of this month. Share us with your friends. We would love to grow on Twitch as well. And you can head over to nintendodads.org to check out all of our social feeds, podcast episodes, and a link to go buy Nintendo Dads merch from our TeePublic store, which you can get t-shirts, pillows, mugs, notebooks, stickers. There's all kinds of really cool stuff over there. Again, email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or call in and leave a voicemail and we'll play it on the show. That's 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. I want to say a big thanks to OC Remix for the music used throughout the show. And I remind you, download us on your podcast app of choice, but also give us a 5-star written review. It helps people find the show and spreads the good word about Nintendo Dads. So guys, this has been episode 319 for me and the rest of the Nintendo Dads and Casey from the Underpowered Podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Peter.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
We sound like the goddamn Nintendo Dads all of a sudden.